Hi, Screen Pups, and welcome to an extra late edition of this week's Screen Pupcast. It's my fault this time around. This was supposed to be up a week ago, but unfortunately, some stuff just kept coming up, and I actually have to apologize. You'll notice on this week's episode when you listen to it that I might sound a little bit different and act a little bit different. That's because I had a pretty heavy bug when we recorded this episode, and I was doped up on lots of NyQuil. For the most part, I sound just fine, but you might find me acting a tad bit odd at points. But after that, a couple of other things happened, none of which is important, but it just kept causing this keep getting pushed back and pushed back. But here it is, this week's episode. I'm joined once again by Kevin and Jackson, and we got our newest member, Nick, to come on. And we discuss some of our favorite sports movies, and also our thoughts on the Olympics. Yes, the Olympics are now far over, but when we recorded it, it was a day from being over with, so it was still relevant then. Still relevant now. The Olympics are always relevant. At least in our hearts. I think that's the point of the Olympics, isn't it? I don't know. Also, something to point out is that this did not get recorded. This actually, we discussed it and never actually recorded it, but we recorded this a day before the closing ceremonies of the Olympics, and Jackson actually called that the Spice Girls were going to be reunited, which I believe he said was a horrible decision. But he was completely right about that, so I have to give him credit. Sadly, we did not record that part, but what we did record was very good. I'm not going to take up any more time. Enjoy this week's episode. Hey, and welcome to another edition of Screen Pupcast. I'm Aaron. Joining me today is going to be some returning guests. We've got Jackson.
Hello.
We've got Kevin.
Hello.
And Monkey Man 02. Is Monkey Man 02 or is it Monkey Man 04?
04.
04. Okay, Monkey Man 04 from the site. We have Nick.
Hello.
Yes, and this week's episode of Screen Pupcast is brought to you by lots of NyQuil, because that's how I'm able to do this today. If I sound a little stuffed up or just dopier than normal, then yeah, you'll know why. I'm currently recovering off of a bit of a cold, but actually no, it was a full-blown flu. But I'm doing way better today, but still, I'm just preemptively apologizing because I am definitely not going to be at the top of my game, but luckily, I've got some great guests who are going to be able to take over in case I have to drop out.
Yeah, if you fall asleep, don't worry, we'll take over.
Yes, exactly.
Just email one of us the list of 100 movies, and then we'll go from there.
You'll just see on the Skype message, you'll just see a bunch of random letters start getting typed to you guys because I just passed out and hit my forehead on the keyboard. Let's see. But yeah, we actually have an actual topic this week. We're going to be talking a little bit about sport. The Olympics are going on right now, and for the first time in my entire life, I'm actually genuinely interested in the Olympics. I don't know why that is. I never really cared about them before until this year, in which I've actually really been getting into it. So I decided, you know what? What better time to actually do our big sports movie episode? Actually talk about some of our favorite sports films.
Yeah, and who better to have on our podcast than somebody who's in London right now?
I am. It's crazy.
I thought you were about to,
yeah.
I thought you were about to say who better to have on your podcast than four guys who have never touched a ball in their life. Because I don't know about you guys, but I know nothing of sports in the real world. I only know it in film.
I played basketball
I
for
know
a
whole
while.
bunch.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of watching sports. I can play them, except the Olympics.
I've bounced a basketball once or twice.
That's pretty good.
I was actually, in high school, I was actually the captain of my high school baseball team, which should tell you how sucky they were. I was 258 pounds in high school. I'm in good shape now. Now, if you looked at me, I actually do look kind of athletic. But back then, I was just this fat high school kid. But I was the only one who actually cared enough to show up to each practice. So they're like, all right, you're the captain, I guess. Whatever. Don't screw stuff up too bad. So, yeah. But before we get into all the sports talk, have you guys seen any movies recently you want to talk about?
I watched LA Confidential.
Oh, how'd you like that?
It's awesome. It's amazing. I love that film.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Speaking of sports,
Yeah.
I watched Warrior.
Oh yes, I love Warrior. How'd you like it?
I was actually kind of drunk when I was watching it, so it was hard for me to actually get into it. It was so like cheesy to me that my drunken brain couldn't even get into it.
It's one of those that it seems so cheesy on paper, but we're gonna talk about it later. But yeah, it's one of those. It's kind of like Rocky, in which you just kind of think, oh, it's just a movie about a boxer, and then you actually watch it, and it's like, oh shit, this is actually like deep. But yeah, it's not. It's one of those films that can be enjoyed both drunken and sober, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Because when you're drunk, you're just watching a couple of guys beat the crap out of each other, and it's fun. Yeah. Speaking of beating the crap out of folks, I watched the Conan remake.
Oh no!
Mentally or figuratively, or physically.
Oh,
Is that the guy?
Well,
the guy
yeah.
Yeah, it's the guy,
It's
from,
the guy from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. It's the guy who's been
Yeah.
playing Conan ever since he got into films. He was just waiting for them to remake the Conan movie so that he could be Conan. And he's
How
not
bad is it?
And he's not a good Conan. That's the thing. It's like you had one job: be Conan. You've been rehearsing it your whole life. But yeah, that was my this week's Bad Movie Tuesday that I insisted on watching. And the thing is, it's not really that bad. It's just kind of like, who gives a shit kind of a movie.
It's not even so bad. It's good. It's just.
It's just
boring.
it's incredibly forgettable. Like, I almost forgot that I watched it this week. It's. Yeah, it's the thing you have to realize is about Conan is that it's a guy who just kicks up massive amounts of ass in this like old Dungeons and Dragons fairy kind of mythological kind of world, and it's like it barely had any of that. It's like it had just enough that it could kind of be acceptable as a Conan film. Like it had just enough to hit the quota to be a Conan film, but they didn't care enough to go any further than that.
How's Stephen Lang in it?
Stephen Lang? Shit, who's
Yeah, he was the villain, wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
He just seems like the most odd man out in the entire cast.
he did. He was totally the odd man out in that film because you could tell that he was just kind of there just to be there. Like he didn't even really seem like the main villain because the character has a daughter who seems far more like a villain in it because she's like some weird witchcraft chick who I have no idea what they were trying to do with
Is
her.
that Rose McGowan in the movie?
That was her, yeah. That was Rose McGowan. No, wait, Rose McGowan was... God, it's one of these movies in which it jumps around so much, I didn't even really care or could tell what the plot of it was. But yeah, they jump around so much that it's getting jumbled in my head. But no, Rose McGowan was this woman who's like supposed to represent total purity, and she... I know it sounds like I'm being so jumbled because I'm sick at the moment. I'm not. The movie makes no fucking sense. It just jumps around that much. She's like total purity, and if her blood gets into this mask thing, then it'll resurrect something.
Obviously,
like, this is what the pitch was in the pitch meeting, too. Like, I don't know, something happens, but it's Conan and he's beating lots of people up. It's a sequel
Someone
that...
with ADHD make this movie?
It was kind of like... It was
And then
just...
a butterfly flies in front of the screen, right? Like, ooh.
A plastic bag goes around and the camera just starts... There's so much life in that compared to everything else in this movie.
Sick
It
burn.
just sounds like you're describing the Scorpion King.
It's totally the Scorpion King. It is completely the Scorpion King if the Scorpion King was a pirate. Because Conan's a pirate in this. It's Conan the Pirate is what this movie is.
What?
Finally, we figured out who Conan really is. He's a pirate.
Yes. But yeah, it's one of those ones in which it's like, I don't want to talk too much shit about, because there are some that's like, alright, that was a kind of a decent fight scene. Like, it's like, nothing is hateful enough to make you just rage at it. It's just kind of there, and who gives a shit? Like, might as well be the subtitle to the film. Conan the Pirate, who gives a shit?
Wait, Conan the Pirate, who gives a shit, or Conan the Pirate, who gives a shit?
I can think Yeah. All right.
Wake up!
Why are we talking this much about Conan? It's not. I just kind of wanted to get out there that it's a who gives a shit kind of movie.
You spent longer thinking about it than anyone making it clearly did.
Yeah, clearly. Like I said, the pitch meeting was, I don't fucking know. It's, he punches stuff with his sword.
As a sword is one to do.
Anybody else see anything they want to talk about?
I saw the Avengers again.
Nice.
This was the last ever showing in London. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I gotta make sure that I get to see it before it goes out theaters again.
I came up with this really weird alternate interpretation of it that made surprisingly too much sense, but was also obviously bullshit and hilarious.
Oh?
Loki represents Scandinavian heavy metal music and its encroaching threat on the world. And the Avengers are other musical terms that are coming out to be. It was a weird time. I was a bit drunk.
Anybody else watch a movie while drunk this week?
I watched the TV show while sober.
I
watched Torchwood.
Oh, Torchwood while sober?
Dude.
Nice. I watched...
I don't like it.
Which bit of Torchwood?
The first season.
Oh, okay. Nah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's alright. I watched Battle Royale while doped up on NyQuil, so that was interesting.
It's the best way to watch Battle Royale.
What?
It's the best way to watch it.
It is! Like, I was seriously worried about what kind of weird dreams I was going to have after watching that, but... No, I mean, we'll talk more about it later, because not to spoil anything, but it's going to come up at some point today. But yeah, let's move into the news, and this week I did not do the news. Kevin, you did the news, so...
I'm the newsman.
Yeah!
I'm Aaron Sorkin.
So you hate women now?
Oh!
No, I love women. But I don't do the walk and talk very well.
Yeah, walk and talk doesn't work well when we have to record through Skype.
No.
Yeah, I'll just run outside my room and maybe you can hear me. I'll bring my computer along, see how well that works out.
I did at one point in time actually dream about doing an episode of this show outside, like just go to the park and just seeing if I could like interview random people about movies, and I realized that was a horrible idea after I said it. So yeah, we'll do an episode where we're all outside when we do this, but for now, lead us off on the news.
That'll clearly make it better.
Yes, because that's the thing this show
everything.
needs, more technical problems. Kevin, lead us off.
Okay, biggest news probably of the week is, well, I don't think it's the biggest surprising news, but I think it's the best feel-good inside news is that Joss Whedon is coming back to do the Avengers 2.
Yes.
That is not the best news. The best news, which I don't know if it's actually this, is that Joss Whedon is getting his new TV show.
Oh
That is
yeah,
the best
Joss Whedon
part
is
of it.
getting an a TV
The
show
Marvel
set in the
TV show.
Avengers world. Yeah.
Which, if it's not Phil Coulson and his team kicking ass, then they failed.
Well, for the longest time, Joss Whedon writes great female characters, and for the longest time, ABC wanted to do an Alias show, which Alias was about not the Alias that all of our TV people know, but there was a comic book called Alias, which was about this superheroine Jessica Jones, who used to be a superhero, but then she gave it all up to just become a private detective, and she gave it up for certain reasons that I won't spoil in case they do actually make the show. But she became a private detective, and it was this noir show, and it was about her being a detective in the Marvel Comics universe, and ABC wanted to do that, and with Joss Whedon now coming in saying he wants to make a show set in the Marvel universe, I really want it to be that show, because he
that
writes
sounds so
great
good.
female characters.
Oh, that sounds so good. I want that. I want that now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Joss Whedon, first off, Avengers, 7 weeks in a row, and still going. Still have not had an episode where we haven't talked about. The Avengers, yeah, I'm really happy about Joss Whedon coming back, because for a moment he said, I don't know if they want me back, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
They
Well,
are
also, the news also involves Joss Whedon also being sort of like a creative consultant on all of the other Marvel movies coming forward, too.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Marvel's establishing their equivalent to the Pixar Brain Trust. And I think Joss Whedon and Kevin Feige are part of that. Yeah.
And Joss Whedon is a great guy to put in charge of that. I mean, he knows how to plot stuff out for
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, I do not want to see them really continue having, like, each of the individual character movies be so closely tied together, as in they're all leading up to something. But if, like, I want now the individual movies to be their own individual films, but if they are going to do this, where they are all still leading up to something, Joss Whedon's the guy to put in charge of that.
Yeah.
I don't
and
think-
it Go ahead.
I don't think that Iron Man, Captain America, or Thor will do it. I'm convinced that Guardians of the Galaxy will just be more introducing Thanos, maybe. But apart from that, they will just give them their own space.
Oh yeah, that's exactly, like, I'm hoping that, Captain America with the Winter Soldier, you can't bring the Avengers into that. That's, that has to be his own story. And, the Thor movie, they said, is happening all within, all within the, like, it's not even happening on Earth.
Oh, thank God for that!
Yeah, which it's all going to be in, like, the mythological realms of Asgard and wherever the elf world is, because that was the other news story I wanted to bring up, is that the Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, is going to be the villain. Which...
you say that, but then you think about G.I. Joe, and you realise that dude can cash some checks in some terrible movies if he wants to, so that doesn't actually confirm anything.
I was about to say, I'm going to say something kind of controversial. Christopher Eccleston is my favorite Doctor.
Damn right he is.
However, at the same time, that dude has made some shitty films after he stopped being the Doctor.
G.I. Joe was so bad.
G.I. Joe was so bad, and also he was in the Amelia Earhart biopic, which was so who gives a shit kind of it was, once again, like, here's the thing. Amelia Earhart was an amazing, amazing historical figure. However, when you think about it in terms of a biopic, what's her story? Well, she sat in a plane for a very long period of time. Did she have a horrific death? Probably. No one saw it. Did she cheat? Did she have some kind of a weird drug addiction? No? Okay. Did she cheat on her husband? Oh, she did. But her husband was cool with it. Well, then where the fuck is the story in this? So yeah, he makes bad choices when it comes to movies, but at the same time, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Oh yeah, because
he was good on Heroes. He was on there for like a couple episodes this is when it was like the first season, so it was when the show was still good.
And every year, people were like, this is when Christopher Eccleston comes back. He's got to come back now and make it amazing again. And he was only in it for like 2 episodes, but the fandom like clung on to him as some kind of icon, as the best thing ever, which speaks to how brilliant he can be.
And also speaks for how much the Heroes fandoms needed something to be good after the last couple seasons of that show.
Yeah. Oh, I have a friend who still believes that Heroes was good the entire way through and was truly excellent. He also thinks Linkin Park are the best band ever and have been for 10 years, so... yeah.
That's fine, I was 17 once too. But yeah, what's the next story that you wanted to speak about?
Well, I just want to add one more thing about Joss Whedon. It sounds like he's not going to have any involvement with the Incredible Hulk TV show that Guillermo del Toro wants to do. And I don't know, thinking about ever since the Avengers came out, I'm not sure I want the Guillermo del Toro Incredible Hulk TV show without Mark Ruffalo.
Nope.
No, I don't.
It just seems like it's going to be too confusing. Like they have Bruce Banner on the TV show, and then they have Bruce Banner in the Avenger movies. It just seems like something Marvel would not do.
Not to mention that Marvel's TV side is currently being run by Jeff Loeb, who is, for anybody out there who reads comics, you get a chill up your spine every time I mention Jeff Loeb. And he has laid out what he wants the Hulk TV show to be, and it sounds fucking awful. So I do not want that. Not to mention, we are in the day and age in which if you made a Hulk TV show, you couldn't do what they did with the old Hulk TV show, where it was, you get some really big muscular guy and you paint him green. You would have to get CGI, and you can't do CGI on a regular basis, the level of, someone with, the Hulk each week. That show would have way too high of a budget.
Yeah, that's at this point, that's what you sort of want. You want Bruce Banner to become the Hulk in every single episode, but that's not viable.
Actually, what I want with the Hulk is to have him...
Or you hatch in old clips from the movie.
Oh, like they just take the footage they already have of the Hulk from, like what people who do animation with Flash do. They use, the same character designs, just wait until an opportunity when you can use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can take the shot of Hulk punching Thor and use it for pretty much anything. Hulk punching a truck, Hulk punching a Dairy Queen, Hulk punching...
Hulk punching a Dairy Queen, that sounds awesome.
Especially if they just like rotoscope it in flash with a like crude picture of a van that's going to hit a boff. That's the only punch Hulk ever does. Side on, boff.
Hulk has amazing peripheral vision.
Hulk does. What I was going to say is that I don't really want Hulk in anything but the Avengers. I want Bruce Banner to be showing up in the Iron Man movies because those dudes are bros. But
Yeah.
I just want Mark Ruffalo being Mark Ruffalo, and then when the Hulk comes out, you know shit's got real.
Yeah, the thing is that the Hulk should not be overexposed. The Hulk should be one of those things in which you never see it, but then the moment that you do, you know shit is on.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Marvel signed Mark Ruffalo to, it sounded like a
Six movies, yeah.
Yeah, so, and they don't want to do another Hulk movie, and they don't want Hulk in, like, Iron Man or any other Marvel movies, so what are they gonna do with Mark Ruffalo?
Is Mark
It
Ruffalo
could-
going to show up in Iron Man 3?
No, they said, Kevin Feige said no.
God, well, not Hulk, but Mark Ruffalo. They were in the same car. What? Come on, guys. Oh.
It could
Yeah.
be. I recently heard Marvel, like, the guys over at Fox were running out of time to find someone to direct the new Daredevil film. Ben Affleck, by the way, just throwing it out there. But so basically, Marvel went to them and said, "Hey, tell you what, we'll give you more time to find to do the Daredevil film if you give us back the Silver Surfer." And Silver Surfer, Hulk, and Silver Surfer and the Hulk used to be on a team with Doctor Strange, which Marvel owns the rights to, and the Submariner, which Marvel owns the right to, called the Defenders. And I would not be surprised if that might be one of the movies they're thinking about doing, seeing as how they really want the Silver Surfer back.
The Silver Surfer
Oh,
is
I think-
awesome.
I thought they wanted Silver Surfer back so that he could have Galactus back.
Well, yeah, but then what are they going to do with? They do want Galactus back, which means that they may want
Avengers
Galactus
3.
Exactly. The only thing bigger than Thanos is Galactus.
Well, that's the thing is that I really do not want every single Avengers film to be a threat from space, but
Yeah, me
Guardians of
either.
the Galaxy, they may want Galactus for that. And then, they save the day from Galactus, and then Thanos just kind of pops up at the end and beats the shit out of him. Like, that's the teaser after the credits of Guardians of the Galaxy, is they won, they saved the universe from Galactus, and at the end, after the credits, it's all of them laying there dead on the floor, and Thanos just walking away.
I bet I bet the villain of that has to be Thanos because the same way they set up Loki as the villain, they will set up.
Yeah.
I assume that the entire last third act of Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be kind of like I can't remember what else has done it. I know it's been done a load of things, but like them holding the line where one person has to run and get a message to wherever. And if it doesn't end like that, I'll probably eat my hat because it writes itself.
Either that, or they have to, like, blast Thanos out of an airlock or something, and then they just go,
No.
God be with whoever has to face him, or, something like that. But, yeah, which, by the way, if it's not Rocket Raccoon who ends up going to spread the message and ends up in the Avengers, I will be very disappointed.
I plotted out my own Avengers 2, which is that Thor gets destroyed in the first 5 minutes and Rocket Raccoon shows up on Earth. That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of, I threw this out there for a little bit about the idea of Ben Affleck directing the Daredevil film, which makes such perfect sense.
It does make sense.
Not to mention he's
It'd
perfect.
be ironic.
It would be ironic, but also it'd be kind of like, Thomas Jane recently did that little Punisher short film that he put money into, just kind of to tell people, I'm not the reason this movie sucked. It was those guys. So I could see Ben Affleck doing that, but speaking of Ben Affleck and superhero films, you know what film Ben Affleck should not direct? The Justice League movie, which is what DC currently wants. Warner Brothers is trying to get Ben Affleck to direct the Justice League film.
I'd rather see him do other stuff.
Yeah, I don't do it.
He said no. He said no.
Oh, he
That's
said
it.
no,
Well,
but they want it so bad. They are going to keep backing truckloads of money up to his house. So he has
Ben
to
Affleck
keep
doesn't
saying no.
He
need
could
more
just be
money.
saying no right now just to, I don't know, try to quell the rumors, and then they come out with a press release saying, hey, Ben Affleck's going to direct our Justice League movie.
I would rather see
Sorry.
the Town 2 before he directs a Justice League movie.
I'd rather see any sort of crime movie directed by Ben Affleck than Justice League.
I was about to say, it is so the exact opposite of what so far he has proven himself to be good at. Which, I've mentioned this before in the podcast, I can't call Ben Affleck a great director yet because he's only done 2 films. I have to see 3 films by a guy before I can call him a great director. But wow, does the trailer for his new movie look good. And The Town, I put it on the Screen Pup's favorite movie list. I was blown away by that film. I love that movie.
And Gone Baby Gone's really good, too.
Oh, it's really good, yeah. But it's, that is so apples and something that is not a fruit. It is the exact opposite of what he should be doing.
Yeah, and he already declined the Man of Steel when that was up before Zack Snyder came on board. So if he's turned it down once before, maybe he probably won't be doing Justice League.
What
That's
if
my guess.
the Justice League is actually an intergalactic heist movie?
Okay, go on.
I
What about
don't know.
Steven Soderbergh?
Yeah, if they can make an Ocean's
they
11
have to
style,
break into
No,
Apocalypse and steal Darkseid's secret stash.
they somehow have to turn off Brainiac.
And everything looks like Boston.
Why is the Hall of Justice in Boston?
Why not?
I don't know.
What about a Justice League movie directed by Jim Jarmusch? No? Okay.
What about
I-
a Justice
I-
League movie directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, or however you say that?
Eh.
Also,
How about
Brian-
Warner Brothers gets one of their movies right before they decide to make a Justice League film?
I know.
Because I know everybody's going to say, well, what about the Dark Knight trilogy? They came out and flat out said, that's not our Batman. That is his own creation. Which, that's not how you can't come out and dismiss the only good film you've ever done.
Yep.
So, and then say that you want to go and create something this big. You have to create one good film that exists within this universe before you can do it. And I'll admit, the Man of Steel trailer does not look like what I thought it was going to. But that does not mean it's going to be good.
I actually have the best trailer, the best director for Justice League, and it's Bryan Singer, because dude just needs to remake X-Men 2.
I can see that, except that didn't Bryan Singer do the Superman Returns film?
Yeah, but that was a one-person. When he turns his game on and does a load of characters and superheroes, he can make amazing stuff. So I have faith in Bryan Singer. I know they haven't chosen him. That's just what I do.
Oh,
What
yeah.
do I know?
What if they just make the Justice League movie with Legos?
With Legos?
Yes.
Oh,
And they
God! Oh, God, I forgot that news story. Oh, God, I forgot that was going to happen.
Hold on. What?
Yeah, the
Oh,
Legos people are making a Legos movie, but it's going to be a Lego Batman and Superman film, and this is a full-length theatrical release movie.
Oh, that's the
What?
best. Is it
And
silent?
someone who's going to be voicing Batman and Superman in that movie.
Wait, have they announced it?
Oh, they wanted like Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec to be, I think, Batman, and Channing Tatum to be Superman.
No, you have them silent. You have that be a
Hold on a
silent
second, I
film.
must be forgetting who Chris Pratt is, because if he's who I'm thinking of from Parks and Rec, what the hell is wrong with them? Isn't Chris Pratt the
He's Aubrey Plaza's boyfriend on that show.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it's supposed to be taken seriously. I think this is supposed to be sort of like a jokey casting.
Oh, I get the whole... I get that the Lego Batman Superman film is not supposed to be serious. But, at the same
They
time...
seem to have forgot how to make funny jokes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So our next news story.
Jesus.
Now that we all want to kill ourselves.
Damn. So, I'm sorry, go on.
So more news to possibly make us all mad. There's going to be a third Hobbit movie.
How? I don't understand.
That animated film did it in one 90-minute sitting. There's no reason.
Well, I think it's easy to be cynical about this and just say, oh, it's probably just a cash grab. They're just going to do the whole too much butter over bread thing. And you know what? It sounded like this was Jackson's idea from the get-go. And you know what? When I saw the last Lord of the Rings movie, I thought it was sort of bittersweet, and I didn't really want that to be the last movie. And maybe it'll be the same thing where I'll feel like after two Hobbit movies, if they had just done the two Hobbit movies, I would have been sad in the first place. But this is not the first time Jackson's gone back to do like shooting more footage for Tolkien stuff. Like he did it for Lord of the Rings, but that was just for like the extended cut. And I think Jackson has more like power creatively now that he can go back and just say, hey, I want to do one more movie. If this was back when they were doing Lord of the Rings and he said, I want to do 4 movies, they would have said no to him. So he probably settled on the extended editions, but I think there's enough in the appendices that maybe they can draw out a third film. There's an interesting guest post on the OneRing.net that somebody wrote, and they actually give a pretty thorough explanation of how they could spread up all 3 books, or the one book and make it into 3 movies.
Yeah, and you brought up something very important, which is that this is what Peter Jackson wanted to do all along. It's what Peter Jackson wanted. This was not a studio coming in and saying, hey, you know how much money we can make if we turn this into 3 movies? You know, this is not what they did with Twilight. And it's not what they're doing with the next Hunger Games film. This is, the director's vision. So it does give me more faith.
Yeah, and even though The Hobbit's not even 300 pages, there's still a whole bunch of lore that Tolkien wrote in between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings that maybe there is enough to sustain a third film.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. When it comes to movies based on books that are divided into multiple parts, each part doesn't quite feel full to me. It feels like I have to watch them all. But the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, also, each of those were individual books, and yet still at the same time, it still just feels like one 9-hour-long movie to me, like one great 9-hour-long movie. But because I kind of already felt that way about the first one, I don't really have that much of a problem with going into the Hobbit films and feeling the same way. Like, I'm kind of prepared for it.
Yeah, and considering even the first Hobbit movie hasn't even been out yet, I guess we can't really say where any sort of split is going to be, because we don't know what that first movie is going to be like. So yeah, I'm just wondering how much, if they're going to start shooting more of the Hobbit movie, how much longer do we have to wait for the next season of Sherlock?
Oh, wow. I would trade all the upcoming Hobbit films for another season of Sherlock.
Yes, love that show.
Martin Freeman, Watson, he's Bilbo, and Benedict Cumberbatch, he's the Necromancer, and Smaug.
Oh, he's 2 characters in
there. Isn't Necromancer, isn't he Sauron? I don't know. It's been a long time since I read The Hobbit.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Elves.
Yeah.
Dwarves.
Yeah.
Rings. I hear there are rings involved.
I think
Maybe at least one.
Presumably they are ruled over by some form of, aristocracy. That's what the title implies. That's all I really know. Archers.
Yeah.
Trolls.
But I guess the title for The Hobbit Part 2 is no longer... They're going to have to change that because it's no longer There and Back Again.
Oh,
unless they change it to the third There and Back Again. But wait,
again.
I forgot something. I don't know.
Or they can just say there, and then the other one could be and back again.
Back again, yeah.
That's too good. These are all great jokes. I approve of them all.
Yes. What's the next news story?
We'll just go through these quicker news stories. If you're excited to see The Great Gatsby this winter, I guess you're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
I was
Sorry.
not.
I was.
I hate
first
that
trailer
film.
seemed kind of cool.
I was excited to see if Tobey Maguire's career would be coming back.
No.
It just doesn't feel like a summer movie at all.
It doesn't. It doesn't feel like a summer movie, but does to me, like when I saw the trailer, it felt perfect for a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it feels like an awards-worthy movie.
Yeah.
And even though it'll open up in summer, I think people will still remember it. Maybe not for quality, but for technical stuff.
Oh,
yeah, they'll remember.
Did they say why this is getting delayed?
No. Well, they just said, hey, I think this movie's better suited for summer. That was about it.
Yeah, I'm sure that was an honest answer.
I think
Yeah,
because
because,
movies.
This whole past year, Warner Brothers has been delaying so many different movies. Like, Jack the Giant Killer got delayed, Man of Steel got delayed, Gangster Squad got delayed, though that wasn't
that
their
was
fault.
outside of their control.
Yeah.
But yeah, because you just mentioned this was supposed to be kind of like an award season kind of film. It makes me wonder if they're looking at and going, this is like, maybe they're looking at and saying this is not going to be able to compete with those other award films that are going to come out this year. So maybe
I don't
it's
know,
a sign
but
of a lack of faith.
Yeah, but if that was how they were going to feel about it, I wouldn't. Why would they put it out in summertime?
Because it's not finished.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. It just, like, young people aren't going to go see The Great Gatsby because most of them read The Great Gatsby in high school, and of course, high school students hate reading books that they have to write assignments about. So, yeah, no. I'm disappointed by this.
Yeah. But as you were saying, next.
Prometheus 2 is going to be either coming out 2014 or 2015. Probably 2015 is more likely. And Damon Lindelof is not coming back. So if you point your entire blame on him, well, maybe you can be a little bit more excited.
Yeah. Kevin and I already gave our review of it. Jackson and Nick, what do you guys think of the film?
It was weird. I didn't think it was good. Well, I didn't think the ending was its problem. Everyone seemed to say the ending was terrible, but like conceptually, the ending should have worked. It was a natural endpoint, but I just thought the dialogue was really bad. They didn't. It was more like, I am a character. This is my job, and here are my religious beliefs. Goodbye. And they didn't speak like normal people, and it was it wasn't like none of it really made sense.
Yeah, each character was really flat. That was my biggest problem with it.
Yeah. Except David, Michael Fassbender's character.
Yeah, the one character that's not supposed to have any depth was the deepest character of them all, yes.
I do want Lindelof actually. I did want him to come back because I love a good underdog story, and I thought if he wrote that, then we could actually see what he was going for. And it turns out it would be genius all along. But then I'm an optimist.
Yeah, well, he's not really an underdog. He's one of the most powerful writers in Hollywood right now.
I know, but in my mind, he hasn't done anything I've actually enjoyed yet. So he's an underdog to me.
I want to like
He's a writer
him,
on
but
the
I
next
can't.
Star Trek movie.
He what?
He's a writer on the next Star Trek movie, so...
I didn't enjoy the first Star Trek movie.
Ooh.
What?
I thought I did, but then I thought about it and rewatched it, and it's not very good. Like, the Kirk and Spock relationship is done really poorly. Like, we hate each other. We are friends now. But there's no actual
disagree.
development there. You're wrong, but
No, you're wrong.
well, your face.
Nerd
Thank
fight!
you.
But then again, I did like Star Trek Nemesis, so
Yeah, that's your first problem right there.
Me
You
and
like
Star-
the crappy Star Trek movies.
no, I don't, because
what's wrong
Insurrection
with
sucks
you.
a big ball of arse. So, nah, I don't know. I didn't really. I liked it the first time I saw it, but when I rewatched it, it did not stand up.
Okay.
Nick, did
Fine,
you happen
that's
to see
your opinion.
Prometheus?
Huh?
Did you happen to see Prometheus, Nick?
Yes. It wasn't offensive. I enjoyed watching it, but it was kind of also difficult for me to get into it because one of the characters' last name was just my same last name. So I was just like, no, like I just couldn't get into it because I was just thinking about, if that was me, because, and if I was burning up as a corpse, what would happen to me? How would I feel?
Try not to
about
think
it?
about it.
That's how I felt in Aliens when the robot was cut in half.
Okay. Next news story. X-Men First Class is getting a sequel, and it has been confirmed by Bryan Singer that is Days of Future Past. Aaron, you probably know more about this than I do.
Yeah, I'll take it from here. Days of Future Past is the story of, it takes place in the future where mutants are being hunted. They're almost killed into extinction, and the last couple of mutants are waging this big final fight against the Sentinels, which are these robots that are programmed by the government to hunt out mutants. And basically, Kitty Pryde from the future, her consciousness goes back to the modern day Kitty Pryde, who then, like, she sees what's going to happen to them if the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants kill this senator who is trying to pass mutant registration law. Like, if the Brotherhood kills it, then all of a sudden all of America goes, well, fuck, we gotta kill all the mutants, and they start building up the Sentinels. So it's a great X-Men story. It was written by Chris Claremont, back before he went completely nuts and only wrote fetish material. God, I wish that was not true, but yeah, that guy has snapped. But yeah, it raises good questions about this movie, because, you know, if it's the sequel to X-Men First Class, X-Men First Class kind of set up its own little X-Men world, and as I said, Days of Future Past heavily involves Wolverine and Kitty Pryde, who existed in the previous X-Men films. Which Wolverine, you could just have him be only in the future, because you could have all the shots in the future be Wolverine, because they implied that he lives in this universe too in the last X-Men film. And you could choose any other X-Men character other than Kitty Pryde to do. But it's kind of it's interesting thinking about what they may or may not change in order to make it fit into the X-Men First Class world.
Do you think it'll be like a controversial decision of how they like kind of fit it into the First Class sort of mythology they built?
It all depends, because, you know, X-Men 3, listen, I'll admit I'm not as harsh on X-Men 3 as most people, because I realized that they had a lot of problems going into that, like a lot of like scheduling and budget problems. But also I'll say I thought X-Men 3 was at least a decent dumb summer action film. But yeah, it was basically just a major finger to all the people who have been following the franchise so far. And then they had the Wolverine film, which is supposed to take place in the same world, and that one is just garbage. So it seems like if they try to recreate the X-Men as we know it, like, you know, if they did bring in Cyclops and, you know, Storm and Wolverine and all them into this, and, you know, changed it where it was like officially saying, no, this is no longer part of the old universe, I think there'd be some people who would be going, oh, but I kind of liked X-Men and X-Men 2, and oh right, that happened. Never mind, I'm good with this new universe. But if they try and change it, that's where if they try and change it to make it fit into this new universe, like it's oh god, what was her name? Angel, the girl with the wasp wings and spat acid, and she was now the one that went back in time. I think there'd be a lot of people going, fuck that. So it all depends on how they try to squeeze it in.
Yeah, and it just feels weird because First Class was meant to be like sort of like a prequel / reboot from the original X-Men franchise. So yeah, but I'm not sure how much of that they would want to bring into this newer stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But because it was so popular, now they're like, oh crap, we do have to. We can't keep, we can't have Havoc be the star for 3 more films. We have to figure out what we're going to do now. We can't keep... We've used all the popular mutants already, is basically what their problem is. So they have to think, are we going to just keep using more and more obscure mutants? Or are we going to just bring in the popular ones and start something new?
They can't
I just want
use every
more...
popular one. There must be a few more popular ones left, but I can't remember any.
Oh, I've got some of my own personal faves, but yeah, I would be looking at it in the movie going, why is Strong Guy the main hero of this film? That's a horrible idea.
I just want more Jennifer Lawrence in blue paint. That's all I want.
Oh god.
You shall receive.
Excellent.
Done deal. You'll love it. Best movie ever. Go see
Excellent.
it. They are making The Wolverine next year, so
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway,
I'm worried about that movie.
can't
I am
think
too,
why.
because I'll admit, when they said David Fincher was going to do it, I was so excited.
It wasn't Fincher, it was Aronofsky.
Sorry, Aronofsky. Why did I say Fincher? Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I was
We
about
all
to
want
say.
a wish.
Aronofsky, yeah, when Aronofsky was going to do it, I was so excited for that, and then he dropped out, and who's the guy doing it now?
James Mangold. He did 3:10 to Yuma.
That's actually a pretty good film.
Yeah, it is pretty good. But he also did Night and Day.
Oh.
That was his last movie.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he did Night and Day, 3:10 to Yuma, and Walk the Line.
Night and Day was the Tom Cruise, Cameron Diaz film, right?
Yep.
I'll admit, I really liked the first act of that film. I really dig the first act of that film, and then they just go, you know what, screw it, let's just make it like any other dumb spy film, and it you don't care anymore after that, so.
Yeah, like most summer movies.
Yeah. But yeah, have any other news stories for us?
I guess Hollywood seems content on ruining more childhood memories of Alf, if you have any. I know you do, Aaron.
Why?
Sort of. I don't know. Well, it sounds like they want to do, like, it's being produced by the same people who did the Smurfs, so Alf could be, I don't know, CGI. I guess, I don't really want that. I think the only way they can make an Alf movie is if they made it like the Muppets, or like the Muppet movie. If they made it like that.
Puppet.
Yeah, there's
They made it
nothing
like
wrong
that.
with just having a puppet be up there. I mean, for God's sakes, have you looked at Alf? There's nothing about him that's supposed to be serious at all.
Yeah. But if they just like take the story template of the Muppets and just make that for Alf, that could be okay. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, you mean trying to convince him that people still love Alf and they should come out of retirement?
No, just like, never mind.
Actually, you know what? I don't know about that. That might be, like, if it was a thing in which, like, say, like, the Alf TV show, like, that was an actual alien, and, like, people are trying to come and convince Alf to come back in out of retirement, like, that's the only thing I can picture that I might enjoy.
So that's it for news.
Alright, the
Slow.
news! Yes. I'm glad we've had somebody who actually, like, now concentrates on news on this show. This thing's, like, actually developing into an actual show.
Let's go on a tangent, though. Let's talk about the ending of Taken.
I cannot recycle the ending of Taken bit every single week. At some point, like 2 weeks ago, it will become no longer funny.
Well, once Taken 2 comes out, then we'll have you back on, and then you can rant about the ending of that.
I was about to say, you know we're going to ask you to be on the show for the Taken 2 episode.
Of course, I can oblige.
I'm going to see Taken 2 solely because of our discussion on Taken 1. I have no plans of seeing that at all.
It's Taken 2. I haven't seen the trailer because I don't watch trailers unless I don't really care about the film. So I watched the Red Dawn trailer. But I hope there's like, I don't know, it becomes a fucking dance movie or Step Up or something, because Jesus Christ.
Like you
I don't
just
know what they're gonna
realize how
do.
crazy and stupid it is, and it's supposed to be that way.
If it becomes super self-aware,
Yeah.
I don't know. If it does, it won't. It'll be Liam Neeson again. But whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
Taken.
Speaking of trailers, that brings us into the next segment that we do on the show, Trailer Talk. Today we're going to be covering... I was planning on just covering one, but Kevin, I know that you had like a bunch that you wanted to talk about. So let's start with the one that we all watched, which was the Red Dawn trailer.
Wolverines!
Thor! Wait.
Now, I have to admit, when it comes to the original Red Dawn, I started watching that on Netflix, and I started, like, tweeting jokes, to each scene, just, like, going along, because it was like, this is just so stupid. But then, like, half an hour went by where I just didn't type anything, and all of a sudden I saw, like, my time code, and I realized, wait a minute, have I, like, been genuinely interested in this movie for the past half hour? And then I had to kind of, like, face myself and go, oh my god, I actually kind of like Red Dawn. This is actually a pretty good movie. So to see the trailer looks, I don't know, it's fixing some of the things I didn't like in the first one, and at the same time it looks like it's ignoring some of the things that I liked in the first one.
I'm glad they're getting an Aussie to lead all these Americans to victory.
God damn it, do we not have any Americans that can act anymore? Seriously, Spider-Man is British, Superman's British, the guy in Red Dawn is Australian. There are no Americans who can act anymore.
He's
We're
trying
right
to
out.
be
Joseph
a
Gordon-Levitt,
Marine Corps.
that's who they should have gone.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is our only hope. in all fairness, we do have Robert Downey Jr. playing Sherlock Holmes in the movies, so we're kind of reaching a point which just...
He's not even the most popular Sherlock Holmes in America, so...
That's true. But the new Red Dawn trailer, like, I like that it looks more like an actual invasion, because I remember in the original Red Dawn, when you just see the guys start parachuting in, it's a very weird moment, it's very, almost like a dream, almost, because it's so, like, you don't expect these folks to just be showing up out of nowhere. But at the same time, I was watching that going, really? This is all it took to invade?
That's what I was thinking as well. Because I think I've seen bits of the original Red Dawn, and the thing I like is that it's kind of small scale because it's all that one town, and they don't really know what's going on in the rest of the world. It's because they had that as well with the TV broadcast, like that not knowing and it being like a dream was kind of the defining element of it. And when you have that big shot of all the lights going out, you're like, don't know if this is going to work in 2012 with that kind of scale.
Yeah, the original is like small town Americana, but in this new trailer, it looks like they're in a city for some part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the MacGuffin's some sort of super weapon that can wipe out technology or something.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. In the original, there was no MacGuffin. It was just them trying to fight back the army. In this one, there's like a key to winning the war that they have to get, which seems to...
From China. Wait, no, North Korea.
North Korea.
Sorry.
We owe. It was going to be China, but then also we realized, how much money do we owe the Chinese?
Basically, all the money that's going to be made from that movie is going to be paid to China
to
pay off our debts. So
tell me about it. China's not even in the Olympics this year. They're just in second place because America had to give them almost all of our medals so that they could melt it down to pay off our debts. But yeah, it still doesn't look too bad. Like I said, this feels more like an actual invasion, like when you see the planes coming in. But at the same time, I like the idea that it was almost like this, like they weren't a ragtag team of super soldiers, like it was just average folks. And they kind of try and play on that, in the scene where he's, like, trying to teach them how to shoot and they don't want to do it. But I'm not getting quite the same feel.
I guess we don't really know how angsty it's going to be, because the original Red Dawn's kind of angsty.
Yeah, but I mean, it's angsty in the way you can kind of, like, believe. It's not, it's not Twilight angst, where it's like, I don't know, I'm so emotional right now. It's, my dad just got shot by these people, I'm really enraged, and, it comes to Patrick Swayze going, no crying, and...
Not gonna lie, if loads of people invaded my country and killed my dad, I would say, a medium amount of angst.
I was about to say, the angst in the original Red Dawn is the angst you can't blame them for having. It's justifiable angst.
It's a great band, Justifiable Angst.
We come up with a new one each week.
Each week! It's my favourite joke. It's never not funny.
Yes. Justifiable angst. They have to be an emo band.
No, they're a ska band.
This movie was filmed almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, why has it been delayed so long?
It got caught up in that whole MGM bankruptcy thing where Red Dog got delayed and Cabin in the Woods was also part of that.
Did Chris Hemsworth just sign a deal with MGM? Because...
I guess
he was in both these films, which is so weird because now you see him as Thor and he's massive and huge, and you see him in Cabin in the Woods in this one, and it's like, damn man, how much weight did you have to lose for that? Oh no, this was him pre-bulked up. Which he's still a beef, he's still a truck in these movies. It's just, but compared to Thor, he looks very tiny.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how much I can take him as a Marine. He didn't really seem like a Marine to me in the trailer.
Hell, even in the trailer, they didn't think he was a Marine. They thought he was Air Force.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to see a little bit more of that one. Why didn't you buy him as a Marine? Why do you think it didn't really?
I don't know. He just didn't have that type of Marine lookingness. Like, the only type of tattoo he has was USMC on his forearm. I mean, usually they're like, hoo-ah, yeah, let's do this type of thing. I don't know. Maybe that's just my my like cliche thought of what a Marine's supposed to be, but I
Yeah,
didn't buy it.
maybe it means they're handling him less as a port. The trailer was aggressively generic, and it just made it look like explosions and stuff. But there are hints of that. Like he's not a typical Marine. It could be a really great movie. We don't know from that trailer though, because it could be anything.
Yeah,
Right.
and you mentioned the explosions, which that was one of my big problems, because one of the things I like about the original Red Dawn is, yeah, you feel like there's a tank rolling down this street, because there's an actual tank there rolling down this street. But, I mean, as soon as you see the plane wing come and hit the house, don't get me wrong, that's pretty cool looking, but it doesn't feel real anymore to me.
It feels
Right.
like you recognise that from films.
Yes.
You recognise, oh, that's like a Transformers film, rather than you recognise it from news reports or actual tanks and stuff. Because that's what's scary. That's what's scary about the Red Dawn, not making it look like Transformers. And I am scared of the Transformers movies, but not in the same way.
It feels more like Call of Duty to me.
Yeah. It does.
Right, it totally felt like MW2.
So do you feel like at some point they're going to just switch to a first-person point of view with the gun in front?
I wouldn't
I
be
hope so.
surprised.
Oh, that would
Chris
that'd be great.
Hemsworth will just look in the mirror, check out his beard and his scars, and then grab the gun and then go in first person mode. That's exactly how it's gonna go.
This is the best idea ever. We cracked it, guys.
We did
solved
it.
the problem.
Oh wait, no, they made that movie. It's called Act of Valor. Sorry,
Oh, I haven't even seen that. Gee.
Don't
I have.
continue.
Yeah,
your
Acts
life
of Valor, the
without-
film where they got actual U.S. Marines to play U.S. Marines, and they film about the U.S. Marines. It's basically just the longest Marine registration campaign ad ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
They should have just called it Ooh-ah.
Which are making a
Wait, the
sequel to that.
Booyah?
Oh, topical humor.
Yes.
Oh, video game jokes on a movie podcast.
Oh, video games.
What are those?
All right, what?
We are going to have
Let's
to do a
switch
video
gears
game
from-
movie episode one time. But,
Oh, we are. I will talk to you about Max Payne. I will never talk to anyone about Max Payne ever again. I lied.
Well, let's switch gears from one military movie to a more realistic movie about militaries.
which one is that?
Zero Dark 30.
Oh, Zero Dark 30. Yeah, that certainly looks like a film.
It's quite a teaser.
I was about to say, I absolutely got the Hurt Locker. I love so much. That film blew me away, and this is by the same person who, by the way, that wasn't a pun. I just realized I said it. But Catherine
just
Bigelow,
got
I'm so happy to see her returning. But yeah, I have no idea what this movie's supposed to be. It's just a bunch of lines.
It feels a lot like a Bourne movie.
It totally does. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that as
Which
well.
would-
but-
Yeah, I guess it'll be really weird to see. I imagine this trailer will be playing in front of the Bourne Legacy this weekend, so deja vu maybe. So yeah, that comes out this Christmas. So weird Christmas movie to see.
Happy Christmas, guys.
So I guess if you wanted to see The Great Gatsby, you're gonna have to settle on Zero Dark 30 instead.
Well, maybe that, we mentioned that that is award season time, and she did win for Hurt Locker, so
Yeah.
entirely possible that this could be. They expect this to be something great again.
Hard to say.
Yeah, but yeah,
A lot of controversy with that movie, and it'll probably be controversial up until it comes out. Have you not heard about this controversy?
no, I haven't.
I have not heard about
Oh,
the
a lot of the sources, like this is apparently about the mission that killed Osama bin Laden, and they got a lot of documents and first-hand accounts from people that worked at the Pentagon. And apparently people are upset about that because that's trading intel. And that's like not even like old intel, it's like current intel.
I was about to say how.
Yeah.
I was shocked that they've already been able to make a movie about this.
Yeah, and there's going to be like 3 other Navy SEAL movies in the next year or so.
The big twist is that they instigated the event purely so they could capitalize on it in the movie. That's the big twist at the end. Do you realize that?
America.
It's a Wag the Dog film.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell by our silence, our reaction to these trailers. Just like, yeah, that is definitely.
Yeah, they're movies. It's a thing. It's coming out. It's gonna happen.
Should be the tagline. It's a thing.
It's a thing. I think that was the tagline to the Conan film. Conan, it's a thing. So far, this has been a very malaise episode because there just hasn't been anything really to talk about other than
just a
Joss
general
Whedon coming
sense
back.
of-
That's it.
Yeah, just at the moment, middle of summer, nothing's really going on. Whatever. You can watch the Olympics. It makes you feel a bit like you're in a dystopian city. London feels like a dystopian city, by the way. It's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, let's just go on to that was trailer talk. Yay! Let's go into the main topic here. We've been watching the Olympics and we're going to talk about some of our favorite sports films. But before we begin, Jackson, what has London been like?
Okay, so like they've painted all the walls. Well, not painted all the walls. They haven't painted the walls. They've like put all these banners up, which just say "Inspire a Generation," but everywhere. They're everywhere you look, and it's like you're thinking you're on this really weird movie set. Like everywhere you look, there is a huge poster saying "London 2012, Inspire a Generation," and there's these really creepy the mascots. They've got models of them everywhere in really weird poses, which are just designed to have hidden cameras inside their eyes.
Oh my god!
Like if they
Generally, every single Olympic mascot is the thing of nightmares.
What was that one?
This is no exception.
What was that one of the Atlanta one? Izzy or whatever? That weird blue creepy thing with. I can't even remember it, but oh yeah, the London ones. The London ones are even weird and are even more frightening this year.
They have the truly British names Wenlock and Mandeville, which apparently, for the 2012 Olympics, the ones happening in this century, not the 18th century, when people were presumably called Wenlock and Mandeville. It's really the best thing about it is that they are handing out free ice cream at every single train station. That's good. That's
pretty
always
cool.
good. That's pretty damn cool. But it's really weird because everyone was expecting it to be so much more busy, but no, all the trains are completely empty that aren't to the Olympics. So when I go to work in the morning, it's just nothing going on because everyone has just taken an excuse to take 2 weeks off. It's fucking annoying. So yeah, London. Loads of shops have gone out of business because they were expecting there to be more independent shops getting business, but they haven't got any, and like 4 shops are closed down.
Holy shit!
Oh.
I know. It's been pretty bad, but the
Like what
opening
type of
ceremony was
shops?
cool. Like there was Dress Circle, which is a musical theatre shop that my sister loves, went out of business, and she's really sad about that because they were expecting an Olympic boost, but there was just less foot traffic, even though all of the world is in London.
Wait, what was this store again? What'd they sell?
They sell musical theatre stuff. Like CDs and scripts and DVDs and I don't understand it. I'm not a musical theatre person. My sister, she's big into that stuff, so she's very sad.
I understand the musical theater thing, but I mean, people are coming from all around the world. They're going to go to the actual plays themselves. They're not going to buy a DVD of the play of the musical theater.
Exactly. No, but just generally, there's less foot traffic in London than was expecting. Like the planning's been a bit. It's like they've had a bad game of Roller Coaster Tycoon and set up the park wrong.
Olympics Tycoon. How is that not a game yet?
Oh, they should make that a game.
Because it's copyrighted by the IOC.
Yeah, the Olympics.
They could just call it like
their
World Games Tycoon or something.
Oh yeah.
Summer City Tycoon.
Yeah.
But oh man, I had no idea.
World Sports Tycoon. There you go.
World Sports Tycoon.
I play a bit of WST. Oh, I got a level 30 Sebco.
Well, how besides the totalitarian kind of feeling to London, how's the general spirit
It's
of London?
awesome. It's amazing because like everyone that's younger than me hates the Olympics, and I probably would have last year because there's a horrible sense of like, yeah, and fuck sports when you get when you're a teenager because fuck sports. But the Olympics are really the only one that actually I care about because, I don't know, there's something about it that's so awesome, and the atmosphere in London is excellent. It's really good. And the opening ceremony was fantastic.
Well too.
We are!
So
we really
that's
are.
probably making everybody happy.
It is. It's going pretty well, but there's been some side effects of when people don't do as well, they get really upset, and like, when there's not much because everyone's doing really well, when someone does not as they're expected, even if they were a favourite, they get a bit chastised, and there was a bit of a controversy there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has been good, and the opening ceremony was amazing. Did anyone that wasn't British understand a thing that was going on?
I understood some of it. Mostly just because I remember social studies from high school, so.
I got the buildings going up, and
Industrial Revolution.
The Industrial
National
Revolution
Healthcare.
and Modern Family and The Cosby Show. I understood that.
I like the bit where Kenneth Branagh shows up looking like he's from Wild Wild West, and
Yeah.
I was expecting a giant spider to show up. And also the beginning when you have a single child singing Jerusalem, I'm like, come on, you cannot make it any easier to make Bane jokes.
It was, yeah, I thought that as far as, when it comes to the opening ceremonies, I thought that as far as the, like, technical aspect of it goes, I thought it was insanely impressive. But you're right, I was kind of watching that going like, this is really, really British. This is like, almost like if Britain had, if like one of those old Monty Python sketches of like how there was a department for stereotype exportations. It's like, this seems like everything that if you just ask somebody what is there in Britain, this would be all the things they'd be listening to. I was like, okay, Voldemort, Mary Poppins,
National
Healthcare, which,
James Bond.
James Bond.
That was pretty cool, actually.
Where was
Pretty
David
cheeky,
Tennant?
Yeah.
I know. I was looking at my Twitter feed and everyone's like, so David Tennant's going to come in now, right? Right, come on, that has to happen. And we were just like, oh, we knew it never was going to happen, but if it had happened...
I didn't think it was going to happen, but then they had Sherlock Holmes, and they had James Bond, and they had Mr. Bean,
Voldemort.
and they had...
Yeah.
As soon as
Mary
Mr. Bean
Poppins.
showed up, I went, okay, David Tennant has to show up now.
Exactly, and he didn't show up once.
I was expecting either David Tennant or Matt Smith to show up when the girl was going through time through music, and like the only way she could get back is going into the TARDIS.
They had
And
the
it was
TARDIS
also weird
sound.
because what?
They had the TARDIS sound. That was the only Doctor Who reference
Yeah,
in the
they
middle
had
of
the
that.
sound, but you could
and
barely
everyone was
hear
like, "Is that it? Come on, guys!
Yeah.
Doctor Who has been one of the most important things in Britain for ages." A sound. You gave the Arctic Monkeys more play. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, and it was weird because the girl that they were like playing that whole entire tribute, like she went back in time and she lost her cell phone, but yet this guy found her cell phone and he's texting her, but yet she has
Christ,
another
I
phone.
forgot about that. I forgot about the entire weird social.
It's like, hey,
media
I found
thing.
your phone. I'm just gonna text you.
Lol. Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, that was the part of it where it kind of lost me. Like, I was in love
Same.
with the Industrial Revolution thing, where you just saw...
I
the
didn't
buildings
understand what's with all the arm dancing, because that's all I saw from all the shots. Is like people dancing with arms, waving them around, and like making circles. I didn't understand that.
Yeah,
That's because we're not
that was
very
the
good
one
at
part which-
dancing. We're not very good at dancing, so yeah, that's what we could do. That's the best we could do. Right? Britain can't do spectacle, but they can do taking the piss out of themselves. So that's what we did.
I mean, like I said, technically it was absolutely amazing, but compared to the Chinese Olympics, I was just kind of like, I hope they never get into like a dance contest, like you got served kind of situation in order to decide the fate of the future of the countries. Like if war was eventually erased and it was all just dance-offs, I was like, oh, that weird arm gyrating stuff from the guys in the big handlebar mustaches was. I'm glad that I'm sick now and I wasn't sick back then, because otherwise I would have had the weirdest
dude.
nightmares after watching those guys with the handlebar mustaches just do the weird arm punches forward dancing thing. It's like,
What happened with? Were you watching it on NBC or did you see the actual?
I watched it on NBC, so I have no idea what they may have cut out. I know they cut out like the salute to a it wasn't a salute, but it was like a moment to honor a recent
It
was the London bombings.
London bombings, yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
It wasn't to honor London bombings.
they put an interview with Michael Phelps instead.
Yes, they did.
There was a,
'Cause that's more American. Apparently.
Jesus
there was a
Christ.
video. There was a video where they had all the not victims of that, but just people that couldn't be at the Olympics, including 7/7 victims. And they had all that happen, and then they cut out an entire dance sequence that was the tribute to that. So it wasn't just a video; it was actually a part of the ceremony that was this weird kind of like sinister undertone dance sequence that was really good. But they cut that out for America because Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Why would
And
you
Ryan
cut anything?
Seacrest.
Why would you cut anything out of like a some kind of an opening festivities? Because even if like it was like, okay, now we're just going to pause for a moment, and while everybody sets up the next thing, everybody's going to know. Well, you're cutting away right now. This is happening live, and you're cutting away from it. It's not.
It wasn't happening live. You didn't get it live. You got it like 3 hours later or so.
Oh yeah, you're right. We got that. We got it late on NBC.
I have an important question. How shite is the commentary in America?
Oh God,
'Cause
it's awful. It is fucking garbage. That was making me foam up at the mouth. Their commentary, it was like what you get at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, but dumbed down to people half the age. It was garbage. The commentary that we got during that.
Yeah. I
Not
have NBC coverage, and I have the Canadian coverage, and neither are very good, but I think NBC is sort of the worst. Yeah.
I saw a clip of them doing the 2008 ones, and it was during the gymnastics, and there was like amazing gymnastics going on, and all the NBC people would say, there's a bit of a fault there. It's not very good. And then the American person came on, they were like, she's doing it for her country, everyone stand up and salute. And I'm like, what?
Oh, you meant during that. I thought you meant during the opening ceremonies. Oh yeah, it's.
Oh, no, the opening ceremony was also ridiculous. I heard, like, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that they had one of the facts was like, the fact about Afghanistan was about the war, and they had one of the facts about an African country was, this is the only country that if they removed something, they would still be in the same place in line.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm so sorry.
It is god awful, the commentary that we get, but
I'm glad Twitter is so much bigger now that we can have all these athletes expelled for being racist.
Wait, what? Did people get expelled for being racist?
Yeah, there was like a whole bunch of athletes that got suspended and eliminated from the games because they were being racist on Twitter.
Good for
Like
them.
one Greek athlete, she said that she made some sort of racist comment about Africans and the West Nile, and then she promptly got disqualified from any events she could have participated in.
I approve of this.
I like that I like that they're getting punished, but to me, all I can think is I so wish that the country she insulted got to beat her in the contest that she was going to be a part of.
Yeah,
Right.
they should be punished, but also they should have their chance to go, fuck you.
Like they have to compete with a weight around their leg or something if they make racist comments or something during the Olympics. But yeah, I'm just thankful that wasn't an American country that got an American contestant that got expelled. Because the moment that you said someone got expelled for being racist, all I could think was, please don't be American, please don't be American, please don't be American. Oh, thank God it's Greek. Okay.
Yeah, and I think I was pretty gun-ho. Well, I'm not really a big summer Olympics person. I'm more of Winter Olympics. But once I started actually watching more Olympic coverage than I thought I was going to, I was kind of gun-ho about it. But now I'm sort of tired, just because there's so many different events and there's so many different variations of those events, and that's all they show all day long. So now I'm sort of getting tired of the Olympics.
Oh yeah, the swim, the diving competition ones have been on for like the past 3 days straight, and I keep wondering if I'm watching reruns. But yeah, like I said,
that and track and field. Like there's so many different running events going on pretty much throughout the entire day.
Track and field, I'm at least a little bit interested in because it's kind of a race, and you can kind of go, okay, that one person's getting ahead now. But with like the diving ones, it's like, all right, I guess that dive was different than the other ones I saw. Okay.
Yeah, 3 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters.
Yeah,
synchronized.
But yeah, I don't know why, but in years past, I had not cared about the Olympics. But this year, for some reason, I am really getting into it, and especially, this is going to sound weird, but especially the gymnastics. Like, I never thought gymnastics should even have been allowed in the Olympics. I never even thought that sport. And now this year I'm going, wow, that is impressive. Like, I am just amazed when I watch that and just go, I didn't even know, like, human beings could do that.
Yep, that's what gymnastics is. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's insanely impressive. I take back everything I ever said about gymnastics. That's incredible to watch that stuff.
So what's the sport that everyone sort of, like you, Aaron, you said, the gymnastics surprised you. What's everyone else's sport that really surprised how much you enjoyed watching it?
It was not the beach volleyball. There was a specific indoor women's volleyball match for Britain that was one of the most tense and brilliant things you will ever watch in your life, and it was that because there was one night where there was some unlikely volleyball match which would have made a great sports movie because they'd been like funded by themselves for years and no one had any faith in them, and then they beat someone about 60 places above them in the league. It was great. It was that.
What
I
about you,
haven't
Nick?
I haven't been watching the Olympics.
Oh.
Aww.
I've been really surprised at how much I enjoy watching water polo.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that sport seems exhausting. It must be physically so hard to do that sport, but it's actually
Especially
pretty
for the
entertaining.
horses.
Yeah,
Let's wait for that.
Let's
Let's wait for that.
Water.
Let's wait for that joke to fully bomb. Hold on. That was a
Aaron, I hear you have a hilarious joke about water polo and horses. Would you like to tell it again, please?
I got a fever, damn it. I don't know what I'm saying. This is my week to get all my shitty jokes out, so that way, because I have an excuse.
You're lucky. You have an excuse. I don't have an excuse. Something bad jokes.
But yeah, the water
Sports.
events have really been surprising me as well this year. Like I mentioned, diving has gotten kind of repetitive to me, but I mean, the first time I started watching it, damn, like I didn't even know you could do handstands before you jump off the board. I didn't even think that was legal, and
That looks terrifying.
how are you not dying when you do that? Your head is placed directly over what you're about to dive straight into. How do you miss the board when you come down?
Yeah, there's a lot of Olympic sports that are just absolutely terrifying. How close they come to
To
the
death.
winding bite on their neck. Ugh.
Oh man.
I know, it's crazy. I bet like gymnastic people look over at dressage and like, you bitches don't even know what you don't die. You don't nearly die every day.
Okay, I mentioned that I used to not think gymnastics belonged in there, and I've been proven wrong. I am never going to be proven wrong when I say, why the hell is dressage an Olympic event?
Yeah,
Because-
that and the rhythmic thing that's been going on like the past couple of days. Where
DDR.
the gymnastic girls just wave around with and ribbons. How is that a sport?
Oh, you mean the thing with the ribbons that they just wave around?
Yeah, that doesn't require yeah, they're probably all physically fit, but that's not something that requires huge endurance
I don't
and battling
get
at the
that.
world stage.
I think Jackson had the right idea.
gymnastics-
DDR, that should be the next Olympic event.
I would so watch Olympic DDR.
I would love to see.
so
I would,
good.
and this is me being honest. I would love to see Olympic Red Rover, just because I'd love to see each country's 10 biggest, buffest guys just line up and steamrolling into each other.
Okay, this is complete kind of it's related, but have you heard of this British show called Techno Games?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is exactly.
It's basically like you have BattleBots in America, which is basically a
yeah.
British that's like Robot Wars here, which is the best show ever made, as everyone knows. Techno Games is where they take those robots and have them do Olympic sports. So you have the robotic sprint, robotic shot put, robotic discus. It's the greatest thing ever.
That shit is terrifying to me.
Yeah. Robotic javelin. God.
There was one robotic shot put machine that was beasting all the others by miles, and it won every year. It was so good. Oh man, I was such a nerdy child.
That's, jeez, oh goddamn,
There it is. World record Techno Games 2000 shot put.
I don't know what to say because that seems. Because on the one hand, I'm like, oh, that's a really cool scientific feat, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really know if we should be teaching robots how to aim and throw way better than us.
I don't know what I was going to add to things. Just really, your lives are not enriched enough if you haven't heard of Techno Games.
Yeah.
How long do you think it'll be? How many more Olympics or years do you think it'll be until UFC mixed martial arts will be in Olympics?
I don't know, because
Never.
it's hard for me to really take that sport seriously, not because I don't think it's, grueling and physically demanding. It is. Please don't kick my ass, people out there. But it's a sport where you're not only allowed to, but you're encouraged to beat people up when they're on the ground. And I don't know, there just doesn't seem to be as much honor in that to me as any other fighting sport.
It just seems like boxing is not as popular as it used to be.
It really is.
Even in the Olympics.
Yeah, it really is, just because we want something more brutal now. Like, even if you look at, like, martial arts films, like, just regular kung fu films, they're not as popular now because we now have stuff like The Raid where people are encouraged to chop people in half and toss them down elevator shafts. It's not what it once was, We now want something more, I don't know how to say, I don't want to say more physical and violent, but...
Brutal?
Brutal, yeah. We want something more brutal now.
So, what's everyone's favorite Olympic commercial they've seen? Because you've probably seen the exact same commercials, probably, I don't know, 100 times maybe, like, again and again.
I skip over the commercials. I don't even pay attention to them. I gotta admit.
Yeah.
I like the Nike Greatness commercials, mostly because Tom Hardy is narrating all of them, but I think they're really well done.
I like all the commercials that are being banned in Britain because that's another thing about the totalitarian state. The IOC have come in and banned anything that isn't licensed to the IOC and an official partner is not allowed to use the word London, summer, or Olympics, or sports, or games, or in their advertising, which has led to my favourite advertisement, which is on the front of the Prince Charles Cinema in London, which says, "Sod the Olympics with an X, watch a film."
Damn. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this point, watching so many events on NBC, they basically killed any interest I had in the Bourne Legacy. Because I've seen that commercial probably over 100 times now, and I don't want to see the movie anymore.
Aww.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really getting that good reviews anyway.
Yeah,
so...
it's pretty much... I mean, the mere fact that they had to name it the Bourne Legacy when Jason Bourne isn't even in it anymore, and there's no one named Bourne in it anymore, it's a total cash grab, is all it is.
He's mentioned. Bourne's mentioned.
Well, he's mentioned. He's mentioned, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And it's like this, the Bourne Legacy, and basically any new show that's going to be on, like NBC or CTV, which is the Canadian channel that I watch, any new TV show for fall, not interested anymore. Like, I've seen probably 50 ads for that Revolution show, no interest. Grimm, no interest. Anger Management, I've seen promos for, not interested. Nashville, not interested. Yeah, it's like, Olympics is killing fall TV for me as well.
Yeah, I've seen, like, I've noticed, last night I was watching some, and, like, I just kind of noticed that they were showing a commercial for Whitney, which I didn't even think was still around.
That got moved to Friday with Community.
I'm just hoping that Community is the lead-in, because if Whitney's the lead-in, there's no hope for Community.
Whitney is the lead-in.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's Whitney, then Community, and then Grimm. That's NBC's Friday lineup.
I'm really excited for the final season of Community.
Yeah.
It's gonna go out in a flame. All right. But yeah, let's get into the movie talk here. What are your guys? Anyone want to begin with some of your favorite sports films? We'll just go through each of us talking about what some of our favorite sports films are, or if you just want to say what type of what sport in particular you guys enjoy seeing the most in film. Nick, you didn't watch the Olympics. Let's start with you. Let's give you some time to talk about sports films.
Okay, I really like football and basketball movies. Like
what are some of your favorites?
Like Coach Carter is a good basketball one. Remember the Titans is a good football one. Let's see here. I've seen so many movies I can't remember all the sports.
Do you like the Friday Night Light movies? Or the Friday Night Light?
I kinda, I guess. I mean, I I watched the show, so I'm not, like, I was kind of into that, but I've never seen the movies. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of sports documentaries lately from ESPN. Their 30 for 30 show that they had, where they did 30 different sports like topics or whatever from 30 different directors, spanned over 30 years.
Oh yeah, did they like recently put all those on Netflix? Because I suddenly noticed like a load of stuff. Just okay, that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah, they're like pretty much all on Netflix now. And my favorite one of those
Have
is
you
actually...
seen Hoop Dreams?
Yes, that's a
Have
really
you seen Hoop Dreams? I hear really good things about that movie.
Yeah,
I have
it's a
too.
really
That's
good
one that I definitely want to check out. Speaking of documentaries about sports, we're talking about documentaries about basketball. One that I absolutely love, and I think I'm the only person on screen who's seen it. Like, last time I checked, it still only has one rating, and it's by me. It's available on Netflix right now. It's called On the Shoulders of Giants. And it was the documentary about the first all-African-American basketball team and the Harlem Rims, which so many people don't even know. Like, my dad is a huge basketball fan. And I told him about this documentary, and I said, oh, so it's about the Harlem Globetrotters. And I said, that wasn't the first all-black basketball team. It's in fact, they even bring up the Harlem Globetrotters in this movie because the Harlem Globetrotters are not from Harlem, they're from Chicago, and they bring up that there's this actual team of all black basketball players, and they're trying hard and they're fighting hard to actually get recognized and actually get people to let them play. And then the Harlem Globetrotters come in and they're just clowns, they're just being buffoons just for applauding white audiences to go, oh, let's look at them do the tricks with the basketball. And they hate their guts because they are keeping them from actually getting recognized.
Right.
But yeah, it's only like an hour long. It's a great little short documentary.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, but what else you got, Nick?
Let's see here. I'm just gonna go to my list of movies.
Yeah, I was about to say you submit
My
over 100
2000
films.
Yeah,
You submitted over 100 movies to the Screen Pup's favorite movie list, and yeah. Tell you what, we'll keep going around. We'll just
Air Bud, no.
Basketball.
I have to admit, this is going to be the most
funny
controversial thing I've said. I kind of like basketball. I have to admit.
Basketball is a great film.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like amazing.
Oh no.
It's-
Okay, good.
It serves a purpose.
Okay,
And
I'm glad that I'm not alone on that one.
no, basketball.
Because yeah, I was afraid that I was actually going to have to defend basketball for a moment. I was like, I know I can't do it. If I ever meet someone who says it's a shitty film, I'm just going to crumble immediately because I have no argument.
You just have to.
I
You
can't.
just have to play them that scene with him driving in the car and the song.
Oh
coming
god, I
on.
love that scene.
It's genius.
You should go to a doctor and have that thing examined.
Does what's on your dick will never go away unless you start using topical cream every day.
I love that fucking movie. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, to me, the two sports that to me I always get the most excited about when it comes to being sports films are baseball, because I don't know why, but I think anybody who played baseball as a kid just kind of has like some kind of, even if you hated it, you got some kind of that romanticism that goes into the sport still in your head whenever you watch a really good baseball movie. Or boxing, which I used to I never actually competed boxing, but like I trained in a little bit of it back in the early days of college, and I would have gotten my ass kicked if I had actually competed. But I don't know why, but that might be one of the reasons I have such a passion.
They don't.
Okay,
they don't
Rocky.
They don't allow kicking.
Those are good movies.
Rocky
1 through 4 are good movies. Right? That 4
What's wrong with Rocky 5? It ends in a street fight. What's wrong with that?
Isn't 4 the one with the Russian, right? It's
No,
one-
yeah, 4 is
Yeah.
the one with the Russian, where
3
Rocky
is
becomes a
Mr.
superhero
T.
that stops communism.
Yeah.
And
So 1
yeah,
through 4.
and 3, 3 I still dig. 3 I still dig because it is kind of like saying, this is what happens to the guy who we've been following after he becomes famous. And it's kind of like you gotta go back to your roots episode, which, although it's got the weirdest, and I love it whenever, a former villain comes in to train the hero and teach them all their tricks. So I dug the idea of Apollo Creed being his trainer, except I found it a little bit racist because it was almost like he was trying to say, I have to teach you how to fight like a black man. And I was trying to go, is that what they're trying to say, or am I just reading into it? And then, of course, Rocky's racist brother-in-law comes out and flat out says that that's what they're doing. And I'm like, oh, God. Because Rocky's racist brother-in-law does not say it elegantly. It was one of those scenes in which I had to watch it and just, this actually was allowed in cinema at one point. But yeah, I still dig Rocky 3, and the original Rocky, that's one of those movies that I watched and I wasn't expecting a lot. Like, I was like, all right, you know what, I bet this will be good. I'll enjoy it. Probably, it'll be a fun thing to watch on an afternoon. That film blew me away. That's one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. Because you expect it to just be a film about a guy, about a boxer, and he wants to be the best, and he's trained. No, it's about a boxer who has a shitty life, and he just really wants to, meet this nice girl, and that's it. And just basically, he just wants to survive. And so when he gets that opportunity to go up against Apollo Creed, he flat out realizes, I can't win. This guy will kick my ass. But if I can just survive, that's it. If I can just last till the end. And spoiler alert for Rocky, but, it's an old film, and I think people have seen it by now. It's, Rocky loses the fight, but he makes it till the end. And I love that that's the point they were trying to make about that film.
Right.
Yeah, let's see. I mentioned boxing. I really enjoyed The Fighter, which came out last year. The Fighter was all right. It wasn't, it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It just wasn't, it didn't blow me away or anything. But as far as baseball films go, my 2 favorite ones definitely have to be either The Natural with Robert Redford, which I love the idea that it's, this old pro coming back, and he's too old for the game now, but he's still good, and he just wants to go out on top. And I'll admit, it's sappy, but when the bat breaks and the kid brings him up the other one, I loved it. Major League. Major League, to me, that kind of, that set the standard to me for the ragtag group of athletes who should not be competing but are and somehow work together kind of film, which we've seen parodied and other versions of it done numerous times, and none of them have lived up to the original Major League, in my opinion. Yeah.
I think a really good baseball movie that I enjoy is Field of Dreams.
Oh, how did I forget that? That is a good one. To me, any film that has a touching father-son moment in it that is my, cry button. Anytime there's a touching father-son moment, I will just start tearing up. And I watched that movie on a bus. We were on the bus, going across the country. And it gets to that moment, and I was like, no, not here. I have nowhere to go. I had to run into the bathroom during the final moments of that, just sit there in this little tiny stall until I could come back out. It was the worst possible place for them to suddenly just go, oh, what's that one thing that makes you cry? We're going to give you the most dramatic moment you've ever seen of that in a movie ever. Yeah, what about, Kevin Jackson, what about you guys? What are some of your favorite sports films?
I haven't seen that many sports movies. It's not one of... Because I need to see more films anyway, but, I think I can count about 6. Let me think. Hold on. I've seen Coach Carter. I like that. Dodgeball and Basketball.
Dodgeball, I can't believe I actually like that film. That film...
yeah, me neither. I watched it again, and I was like, I don't actually like... No, it is. It's good. It's good.
It's got Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. I should hate it just on that principle alone.
Exactly. Yeah, he will not be able to see very well, Carden. It's one of my favorite film quotes of all time, and I don't know why. It's so good. It
has to be multiplying negatives or something.
Yeah.
Steve the Pirate.
Oh, God. How does that work? They have a guy who thinks he's a pirate in the film, and it should be just stupid, but it kind of works for some reason.
It kind of works.
How does it work that Alan Tudyk is a pirate? It makes it awesome.
Because Alan Tudyk is a genius.
Alan Tudyk is fantastic.
Yeah. What else happens in that? There's at the bit in the middle, right near the end. Spoilers for Dodgeball, so just go watch it. But the bit where what's his face gets crushed by the machine.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Lance Armstrong shows up in that movie.
Oh God, I forgot that.
Oh dear. You ever wonder what a $50,000 looks like in real life? A lot of it's lost in translation. It's like opens a briefcase, like $4 bills in there. Yeah, that film gets a bad rap for its on-paper
the
craftiness, but
3Ds.
it's far cleverer.
Dodge, dip.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball.
If you can dodge traffic, you can dodge a ball. Another one of my favourite lines ever is, will somebody catch the goddamn ball? It's like watching a bunch of retards trying to fuck a doorknob out there. Yeah, Dodgeball is great.
Chuck Norris shows up, giving a thumbs up at the end.
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I can't believe I
and,
still laugh this much just talking about dodgeball.
Again, with that kind of cast and that kind of like pedigree going into that movie, the fact that it's amazing, that's the real true underdog story.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dodgeball. And I've only seen two others, I think, which are, because this totally counts. Herbie Fully Loaded.
There's a race.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's racing in it.
Yeah, there's definitely things in it. Another film that Justin Long's in. And Space Jam, the classic.
Yeah.
That film, when I was a kid, when I was a kid, I made my parents take me to see that twice, because for some reason I liked it so much, and yet now these days I can't believe that.
I bought the album
Wow.
of Space Jam.
Wow.
I liked it that much.
Did you get it? The special liquid is actually water. It's mind blowing. It's genius. The Space Jam is an important movie in my life because it was what actually inspired me to then go play basketball, which I did for basically all of high school. One of the films you expect to have an effect on no one. Space Jam.
Oh god,
that's really
Waterboy.
all the sports.
That's another one
Oh.
that I really enjoyed when I was younger.
I have not seen it since I was a kid, and I liked it when I was a kid, and I'm afraid to go back and see it again for fear that I will just hate it like so many
Right.
other Adam Sandler films.
Right.
Well, speaking of Adam Sandler films, Happy Gilmore, I can honestly say that's the one Adam Sandler film I can still say I absolutely do still like. I don't know why. We talked about that on the Screen Pup's favorite movie list, but that's his one film that I actually still kind of like. Although I don't really consider golf to be a sport, so I don't know if it counts.
That is a good point. I think I did see that. I can't remember much about it. Wasn't it the good thing about it was that everyone around him, because he was still playing Adam Sandler, but everyone around him thought that he was fucking annoying. Isn't that what made it better?
I think that might have been Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Those two came out like back to back with each other.
It might as well just be Billy Madison playing golf. I mean,
It kind of is, except that Billy Madison was just totally, was kind of whiny, and like Happy Gilmore was you take all the whininess out and you put in rage, which I kind of like the fact that there's a golfer full of rage.
He beat up a crocodile. I remember.
Yeah, exactly. It's the weird thing about Adam Sandler is that he's got kind of the same career as Will Ferrell to me, in that I like his first movie somewhat, really like the second one, don't care for many of the ones after that, more than a chuckle. And thinking about that made me realize if we're going to consider racing to be a sport, I actually kind of like Talladega Nights, I have to admit. No one's going to back me up on that. All right, fair enough.
I haven't seen
I'll
it.
walk out into that minefield. Yes, I like Talladega Nights.
It's not terrible. Well, but what did you think of Semi-Pro?
Oh, God, fuck that movie.
I kind of found Nacho Libre to be entertaining.
I've heard that's actually fairly decent.
It is. For being like a wrestling movie, it's kind of a really good take on wrestling.
Which we haven't actually brought up The Wrestler. So, speaking of wrestling...
What's that about?
I haven't watched that. Which I know I probably should.
Alright, what sport have we not covered? We got baseball, we got basketball, hockey!
Soccer.
Hockey, I love Goon. I have to admit, I love...
Yeah.
You do?
Goon to me, next to it and Slapshots are right next to each other as the best hockey film, in my opinion. Yeah, I recently saw that. It's available on Netflix. I talked about, 2-3 episodes ago with Kevin. Love the hell out of that movie. Any good? What's the best, soccer/football film?
Shaolin Soccer.
Anybody?
Yes.
Anybody going to challenge that? Because I think that is the winner.
No, no one needs to.
I hear the
the
Damned United is pretty good.
Damn United, I haven't seen that one.
It's Michael Sheen's in that movie. That's
No,
all I heard.
I've heard of it. It's a film. It's not Shaolin soccer though.
I was about to say. Oh, and speaking of basketball, we missed this when we talked about basketball. Kung Fu Dunk. Speaking of weird martial art sports movies.
That's on UK Netflix. I need to see that because it's called Kung Fu Dunk.
That's the exact reason why I watched it. It was on Netflix and it's called Kung Fu Dunk, which it's not as good as Shaolin Soccer. Let me just say that it's not. They don't go as far with it as Shaolin Soccer does, and they needed to go as far as they did with Shaolin Soccer. But it's still pretty cool.
I was thinking, Kung Fu Dunk, is that a film about Kung Fu basketball? Is that what my racist grandmother calls the Chinese restaurant?
I think that's the thing that unites all nations. We all have racist grandmothers.
We do.
All right. Let's see. So soccer. How about American football? What's the greatest American football anybody wants to throw out there?
Oh man.
Alvin and the Chipmunks 2.
Probably Rudy?
I was about to say there's got to be one better than Rudy, but I can't think of one. Yeah, Rudy is another one of those films that you're allowed to have that manly tear come down your cheek when it comes on. It's the scene where they're all saying that they want Rudy to play. That's an amazing. Sports are all about teamwork and teamsmanship. That is one of the best examples of it in any film that I've seen.
Yeah.
Then God, I am blanking on all American football films. I've got
The Longest Yard.
Longest Yard.
The remake
Any Given
is not
Sunday.
good. Yeah, Any Given Sunday.
The Replacements, which was just Major League for football.
Right. Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans? There was that Ronald Reagan one. O'Brien's Song. That's what I kept trying to think of. Which, that's more of a movie about someone dying, but he just happens to play football. Which, that's an interesting question to throw out to you guys. What makes something a sports film, and what makes something a film that just happens to involve sports?
The climax has to be about a game.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's how I would define it, because all sports movies focus on a sport-related victory rather than a personal-related victory, and that victory is about more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
That's very accurate.
Yeah.
Although by that means, I'm trying to remember the fighter. I don't think the fighter actually. I don't even know if I would then consider the fighter to be a sports film, which I remember thinking that even when I saw the film in theaters, is that it's more of just a film about these two guys trying to get their lives together, but
With a little bit of boxing in it.
with some boxing in it. Yeah, which that's the thing about the fighter is that the boxing is the worst part of that movie. Everything else in the movie is fantastic, but the boxing scenes are shot horribly.
I think I'm sort of like you, Aaron. I think I have the most the sports movies that resonate the most with me are probably baseball movies.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like I really loved Moneyball.
Oh yeah.
And I think Moneyball has the strange effect on me is that it's the only sports movie that I can relate to because I remember when that happened. I remember when the Oakland A's went on that 20-game winning streak. Like I was like a teenager when that happened, and seeing a movie about that sports event actually made me like the movie way more because it is the first sports movie that I actually saw the event happening in real life when it was going on, and then seeing the movie about it.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the thing is I'm starting to realize I'm now starting to get to that age where stuff that has happened in my life is getting films made about it, which is a weird feeling. But yeah, I remember that moment. And would you?
You know, like historic events like the capture of Bin Laden.
Yes.
Yeah, I like A League of Their Own. That one's pretty fun.
League of Their Own's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 61's pretty good.
Oh, 61 with an asterisk, or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Final Dasa actually submitted that one to the Screen Pup's favorite movie list.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Would you call... Actually, I think Angels in the Outfield, the remake version of Christopher Lloyd, is pretty good.
Yeah.
A young
my
Joseph
childhood
Gordon-Levitt.
right
Oh wait, that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that film?
What?
It was. Yeah, that was him as a kid.
Wow. Yeah, I remember liking that one when I was a film. That was like the film that introduced me to Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, it was one of those movies that was part of my childhood, as was The Mighty Ducks.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
I remember watching all those sequels because I just loved the first one so much.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess I think I like Jerry Maguire too, even though he's a sports agent.
I actually do like Jerry Maguire. I gotta admit, that's one of those films in which, I didn't see it during Oscar time because that was still at a time in which I didn't really care about the Oscars that much, as opposed to now where I care about proving them wrong. But I remember they got so many awards and nominations, and I just kept thinking, there's no way that's gonna be as good as everyone says it is. And then I watched it, and yeah, it actually is a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't like it because of how popular it became and how overused the whole "you complete me" thing was.
Oh, I'd say "Show Me the Money" is more overused than
too, yeah.
"You Complete Me." Oh wait, not "Complete Me." Wait, did they say "You Complete Me" in that one, or was it the "You"? I know they had
it was at the
"You
very
Had Me
end.
at Hello."
Yeah.
Uh,
That one.
Yeah, it was both of those.
oh,
I think in that
'Cause I
same
was like,
scene.
both those parts were at the end where Tom Cruise shows up and confesses his love for Renee Zellweger.
which I gotta admit, that is one of my favorite. That's one of my sports films. Always try and cram in some kind of a romance too, and that's one of my favorite romances in a sports film.
Yeah, and I was also I was actually rewatching a sports movie this morning because it was on TV, and it was Red Belt.
Red Belt.
Did you ever see that one?
I've seen Red Belt. I think that is a good movie, a terrible sports movie. I enjoy it. I enjoy a lot of it, but when it gets into becoming a sports movie, it goes down a level. And also, the last 5 minutes are incomprehensible wank, so they're not as good. But it's a good film.
Yeah, it's a good film. It's not great, but it's still good. Good acting in it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think the most accurate movie to fit this list and to fit our Olympic theme is Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings.
Oh, right.
I thought you were going to say Cherries of Fire. Cherries of Fire for a second there, but
I was gonna-
yeah. Has anyone seen Chariots of Fire? Because I've heard so many people.
Long time ago.
Because so many people tell me that movie is garbage, and yet it won 1,000 awards. So I have no idea what to think of it. I've never seen it.
We should
I hope
probably get
Fenn Jealous
educated.
is making a whole bunch of money off of them playing Chariots of Fire. Because they've been playing
Every
that
20
constantly.
seconds. Well, to be honest, I'm actually glad they are, because it was originally going to be a terrible, terrible Muse song that they wrote for the Olympics, but they replaced it with Chariots of Fire when they realised the Muse song was an abortion to our ears.
Muse was going
And I
to
like Muse.
I like Muse too.
I like Muse. And that song was not very good.
What song was it going to be? I like Muse, but this is new
No,
to me.
the new song, which transferred the pain and struggle of being an athlete into the exact same lyrics of every other Muse song. And it was a subpar Muse song. I'm not a big fan of Muse. They have done 1.5 good songs, which is Muscle Museum and the back half of Knights of Sidonia.
Back half of Knights of Sidonia is pretty badass, I gotta admit that, yeah. But,
I like that Black Holes and Revolution album. I like that one.
speaking...
That was okay.
This is gonna be a weird question to kind of go out on, because we've covered everything, but since you brought that up, so many sports films do a montage, and they always have a song made specifically for the montage.
Team America.
What's everybody's favorite sports movie montage or song from a sports movie montage?
Oh God, Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger it's got to be one of the ones up there. It's one of the go-to.
I still think the original Rocky one's the best. Better than
I like the original Rocky better too myself. By the way, Rocky Balboa, huge surprise of a film. That one, I was expecting to kind of hate that film because the Rocky film franchise has just been, used for so long just to make cash and with no real purpose. But the Rocky Balboa film was a great way for that franchise to go out. Yeah, I got to go with from Karate Kid, the best. It was Karate Kid though, right? It's used in every montage. You're the best around, nothing's ever gonna keep you down.
Was that Karate Kid that popularized that?
Yeah. I don't know why, but that one always makes me because that to me is a song that you can use seriously and comedically. Like, if anybody's ever seen that Always Sunny in Philadelphia one where Charlie gets buffed up on steroids and they use it for the training montage, it's hilarious.
I don't think you can use that seriously unless you're deliberately juxtaposing a horrible moment, like someone's getting murdered in the face, and you're playing "You're the best," stab, stab, stab.
Oh, so like in a Tarantino sense almost.
Yeah.
Wasn't that song used in Saints Row the Third? Was it the wrestling part?
It might have been. No, I don't remember what was in the wrestling scene. Could have been, because there was a song in that scene, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, wasn't it because it was the wrestling match with Killbane, and then you're on the sidelines.
Was it that song?
Goons? I think that was the song that played then.
The only song I remember is "I Need a Hero" at the very end.
Yes. Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
As soon as you started going and he was like, "I need a hero," I was like, never since Shrek 2 has this song been personified so perfectly, and it timed it perfectly with my climb up the tower as well. Oh, God, I love that. We've managed to get this game into the last 2 podcasts.
Except when I was playing that last part, I ran too far ahead, and the scripting broke, so I had to do that entire part all over again. So that part was a little bit less effective.
That's not good. Yeah, and you're right. It is "You're the Best." That's the song that plays.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, this was I'm glad we finally got this podcast full of energy and actually involved in discussion because we'd been talking about nothing but meh films up until then.
I know.
This was a.
Are we going through more of the list?
Yeah, I was thinking we'd probably. I'd say we take a little bit of a break, and if you guys want, we can then finish off by just talking about the Screen Pup's favorite movie list.
Hell yeah.
Welcome back to the Screen Pups. God damn it.
Welcome back to the Screen Pups podcast.
The NyQuil is wearing off. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
I can feel myself fading out. All right, welcome back to the Screen Pupcast. I'm Aaron. You guys know who we are. This is part 2. You already listened to part 1. You know who we are. The Screen Pupcast, it's now time for us to go into the Screen Pup's favorite movie list. In case you haven't been listening to the past couple episodes, what I did is that I went on screen and I asked everybody to create a list of their favorite movies. It could be however long you guys wanted it to be. It could be either the films you thought were the best or your personal favorites. And then you just submit it to me, and then I would start to rank them. The films that had the least number of nominations would be at the bottom. The films that had the most number of nominations would be at the top. And then with the films that had the same number of nominations, I would then go into tiebreakers. The first tiebreaker is I would look at that page's star rating on the screen website, and whichever one had the higher rating would then be ahead. And then if 2 films had the same rating, I would then see how many members of Screened actually rated that film. I went into further breakdowns as well, further tiebreakers, but not for any of the films that we're about to talk about, because we are now completely done with all the films that only got 1 nomination. We are now at the part of the list of all the films that got 2 nominations. We have 69 films that had 2 nominations. I knew someone was going to make that list, but I knew someone was going to make that joke. I just didn't know who.
Well, what I didn't say anything. What I do?
All right, we have 69 movies that got 2 nominations. God damn it, I'm going to keep going no matter what you guys say.
How many movies?
You know what? Fuck it. I'm giving Warrior another vote again. I'm putting my vote back into that one. We've got 70 now.
No, we got 69 dudes.
Yes. Fucking. All right.
He's been on Ted's Excellent Adventure here today.
All right. I'm just gonna keep talking. I can mute you assholes out. You know that, right? In the editing process.
It would just be you talking to yourself the whole time, no one will hear us, and they'll be like, "Why is Aaron getting far more depressed as he goes on?"
That's what the podcast was originally, just me talking and getting depressed as it goes on. Okay. But yeah, we have 69 movies that got 2 nominations each. God damn it, it's still making you laugh! Okay. 69 movies that got 2 nominations each. I'm going to see if today we can actually get through all the 69 movies that got 2 nominations. Which previously, we've done about 100 movies each time we've talked about the list. But each time we talked about the list, we would skip over tons, and we would just talk about whichever one we wanted to talk about. Now that we're at 2, we're going to be talking a little bit more. We're going to be talking about more of the nominations. We're going to be going into a little bit more detail with each of them. But once again, we're just going to see how far we can get, and I'm going to go ahead and start. This is movie number 138. Got 2 nominations, had a rating of 3.4 with 41 votes. The movie is The Living Daylights. Next up is Legend.
Awesome movie.
Awesome movie.
Yeah.
That's one that I keep wanting to see, but I have never gotten around to it.
That devil is
that
like the best practical
Tom Cruise
makeup.
one?
That's the Tom Cruise one.
Ridley Scott.
Yeah, it was. Oh god, what's his name? He plays villains in almost everything.
Tim Curry.
Yeah, Tim Curry played the
His
big
makeup
orange
was
guy.
amazing. That makeup work.
That is some incredible makeup work in that film. It's, to this day, I still say that 9 times out of 10, you should just go with practical effects rather than special effects, and that's one of the times that proves it.
Definitely.
Let's see. Next up, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Hell yeah!
Okay, thank God. Once again, I did not want to have to defend this movie being on the list. But I'm one of the people who nominated it because
Hell to the yeah.
I admit I love this movie. I thought was going to be the dumbest piece of shit, and I thought I was going to hate it. But it got so many good reviews, I decided, you know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it. Go and see it. Did not regret. I laughed so hard at that film. It's got some problems to it, but
yeah, it has the best use of "Thank You, Come Again" that you'll ever find ever in all of history.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those movies that I absolutely love. I don't know if there's like a term for this kind of film, but it's where 2 guys go out on a mission and they just keep running into one slightly weirder situation after another.
It's a road trip movie.
A road trip movie, yeah.
It's a road trip movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and there's so many things that they're just little cutaway scenes, like where he goes to just pee in the woods, and there's just for no reason there's a weird guy out there deciding to pee in the same
And he's standing too
bush.
close. He won't move over. It's like
Wait, is this your bush? Do you own this?
it's so good. It's so good. And it's so
I like the scene where
clever, too.
they're at the crosswalk and they're like, just jaywalk across. It's like, there's no police. Takes one step on the road, a car shows up.
It's one of those films where you just think, like, it's still in its genre of dumb road weed stoner movie, but it's so much cleverer. It actually has intelligence behind that.
It does!
Yet can still... Which is... Because anyone can make... If you're going to make a movie about something dark and deep and Oscar-winning, it's going to be intelligent, but it's really special when you get a film that's in its genre, but also really, really clever, and that's what Harold and Kumar is, and I love it.
Yeah, anybody got a favorite scene that they just want to throw out real fast?
Yeah, where they pull up to the first, the other place that they decided to go to, and the guy is like... He's like
Anthony Anderson there at the drive-through window.
Yeah.
I gotta burn this down!
That is hands down my
the
favorite
special.
scene.
You don't want the special sauce. It's horse semen.
It's it.
Which I was watching that is a scene that whenever bad news breaks on the internet and I have to put my reaction, I just go on YouTube and find that clip and I just put it in there as my response. That is my favorite scene of that film, and I was watching it again recently. When he goes on that little tirade and he grabs the thing, he smashes it into the extra in the background, and the extra keeps working. That guy's working his ass off because he just has the entire shelf of stuff following him, and he keeps working in the background. But
And then Ryan Reynolds shows up in that movie.
as
Random cameo.
yeah, it's got so many weird random cameos. And the thing I love about the Anthony Anderson scene is that I was listening to I admit I own the DVD and I listened to the commentary on it. They had to film Harold and Kumar in the car at a separate location from where they filmed Anthony Anderson, and they had to film it before they shot the Anthony Anderson part, and they just told him, listen, guys, we know he's going to go off script, and we know he's going to improv and just make some stuff up, so we're just going to film as many different reaction shots of you as we can, so we can have some to splice in. And yeah, sure enough, the whole burn it down thing, no one knew he was going to do that. And which another reason why he just smacked the shelves down onto the extra in the background. But yeah, that entire scene is improvised, and they had to film the reaction shots beforehand, so they just had to go, listen, we know he's just going to do something weird. Let's just get as many shots of you as we can, so we have something to put in there. But yeah, I absolutely love that film.
And I think we're overlooking the best part about that movie, which is Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh yeah, we are. That's the whole reason he has a career again.
Didn't he have to just steal my
gave
car?
him a career again.
He's so knocked out of the park in that film, and to anybody who did not see the first one and went just straight to the second one, Escape from Guantanamo Bay, that film's garbage.
It's not garbage. It is not as good, but it has some. It's not garbage.
It's garbage.
My
it's got.
My friends and I keep referencing the Cockney sandwich part from the second one.
I didn't even remember that scene until you said it.
If we're making anything, like if somebody's making something and they're like, "Oh, what are you making us?" We'll be like a Cockney sandwich.
Okay, yeah, it's not garbage, but it's not. It's not
as hit. It's not.
It's a huge letdown, is what it is. But the third one, I will say,
I haven't seen it because it only came out in like cinemas in England for like a week, and they still haven't brought it out on DVD because it's not Christmas yet, and I'm really annoyed because I need to see that so hard.
It's you won't be disappointed. It returns. Yes. It's a return to glory. It is goes back to being good, and Neil Patrick Harris has the best. That's his best one. Is the third one.
Yeah. Excellent. I still want to say about the second one, like, even though it isn't good, it still has one of my favourite lines from the movie, which is, plus that dude has date rape face. What does that mean? One who possesses the face of a date rapist. But there are still signs that it's written by people better than that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can tell that they got a little bit lazy, but still talented people gain lazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go into the next one. Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
Which, Nick, I know you.
Really?
I know, Nick, you say that's one of your favorite sequels of all time.
Yes, I love it. It's awesome. I just can't describe it. That's my childhood right there. Is that
Fair
movie?
enough.
Let's see here. What are the best parts of it? It's funny.
I love the fact that I could tell that Jackson was about to go off on you for nominating that one, but then when he says his childhood, he just goes, fair enough. He goes, all right.
I watched Power Rangers. I watched Space Jam. I know what this is like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my only real problem... I like Ghostbusters 2, but my only real problem is that, like, the first half of that movie is just the first half of Ghostbusters. It's kind of like... Yeah, it pulled a Men in Black a little bit, in which they just went, oh, let's just do the same thing again. But I will say this about Ghostbusters 2. That dude in the villain, the painting guy, that guy scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
And that scene, the hallway scene where the dude's eyes light up, that freaked me out so much as a kid. Like, when it's all pitch black, and, like, the dude that got all the ghost powers, the Yonish guy or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, that freaked me out as a child. Man.
I'm trying to think how terrible the Ghostbusters movies would have been without Bill Murray. If that wasn't Bill Murray, then...
Wow, that is something to think about.
They would have been straight to VHS movies if he was.
That is a rabbit hole I do not want to go down.
He has made a career out of single-handedly saving me. Groundhog Day is not a good movie if you think about it. Like, it's kind of lazy in the way it doesn't deal with the whole day thing as well as it could, and it's got the worst ending of all time. It's not the worst ending ever, but it's pretty terrible. But if that Bill Murray makes it great, it's all him.
Yeah,
that's his career
then I guess
until
we'll have to see
1997.
Oh, that whole scene
What was
with
it?
him. Huh?
What was that? You cut
I
out
guess
there a
if
little
Bill Murray saves most movies, I wonder if Ghostbusters 3 ever gets made. I wonder how that'll do without him.
Oh yeah, because it's now pretty much all but official that he's not going to be in that. And
I have a
Poorly.
feeling it's going to be like the fourth Indiana Jones, where they try and have some young blood in there.
God. Well,
No,
here's the
that's the
thing.
whole
I
point.
could actually see that kind of working. Like, and I know that when I was a kid, there was a well, not when I was a kid. When I was a kid, there was the real Ghostbusters cartoon, and that cartoon was fucking awesome. But there was another one that came out when I was like a teenager or something, which was the new real Ghostbusters, which was basically like Ego, basically him by himself, having to bring in like interns, basically like these 4 new people into it. And that show was terrible, but I like the idea. If you were going to make another Ghostbusters film, that's really the only way I could see it being done at this point.
Yeah. I think the only way Bill Murray does a Ghostbusters 3 is if Wes Anderson directs it.
Oh god.
I would watch that. I would most definitely.
I would
watch
too.
that.
If they made a stop motion, I would totally watch it then.
Yep.
Just go Fantastic Mr. Fox with it. I would love that.
I just got that on DVD for £3. I cannot wait to watch it.
Holy jeez.
Oh yeah,
Pretty good.
I know.
I have to remind myself, though, of how bad the American dollar is, so that's still like $30 for us. So yeah, I guess
No, that's pretty cheap. No, because
Yeah.
that would be that'd be like
Yeah, it's
less-
still
that'd
pretty
be
cheap.
like
It's
$4.50.
Yeah.
I got the Mummy and the Mummy 2 for 75 pence and £1. So that's there's a shop in England which you can just get pre-owned DVDs for about £1, and I've just got this massive floor-to-ceiling stack of films I bought in the last 2 months because I just discovered it. And it's been a horrible life decision because I'm never going to see any of these films. Why the hell did I buy 3 Steven Seagal movies made in the 2000s? I'm never going to see them.
Holy! I can
Wait,
imagine going.
Dave the same too, because that's what it seems like. He just started naming them like something to kill, right?
Yeah, it was that and Submerged and another one in a 3 for £1 pack, making them each basically about 50 cents in your dollars, and it's just like
That's
I'm
still
never gonna watch
overpriced.
that. I'm never ever gonna. I just bought Shark Boy and Lava Girl today for 50 pence.
Oh my god!
It was.
Does it
was-
come with the 3D glasses?
It came with 4 3D glasses.
Oh, okay, that's not a bad deal. That's I would
already
pay
have
that
this-
amount for 4 3D glasses.
Excuse me, I
I
already had
used
a
to
full
work
set
for
from my
I used to
DVD
work
for
for
Spike It's
Blockbuster,
3D.
and we had that movie, and we had to give out the 3D glasses to people when they rented it.
How many of those people returned the 3D glasses?
We only had 2 pairs, but that was because no one rented it ever.
Oh,
How many of those people returned with their lives?
so Shark Boy and Lava Girl is like The Ring?
I
Yeah.
could be. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But like in terms of genuine bargains, I picked up Zodiac for £1.
Okay, that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
That's a
Anyway.
steal, actually.
Yeah.
It really is. I got LA Confidential for 75p. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Anyway,
I'm just gonna assume that's a lot, not a lot of money.
it's really not.
No, it's
That's-
not, yeah.
That's about $1.
Okay.
Alright, let's see. Next up on our list, this one we might get into an argument about.
Let's do this.
It's next one with a rating of 3.7 and 46 votes, Tree of Life.
Okay. Yeah.
How'd everybody feel about Tree of Life?
I stopped watching it after
It's
a
an.
while.
It,
It was kind of boring. to
I
me.
can appreciate it because it's a different movie-going experience. It is completely unlike anything else you really see, and I can appreciate it on that merit. And there's dinosaurs in that movie.
Sold.
There are dinosaurs in it.
Yeah.
I think that visually it is an amazing film, and I think that through the visuals they're able to tell an impressive story that is touching. I mean, there is a moment in that film which I do start kind of welling up, and it's solely just because of what they are able to express through the not through any dialogue, but just through what is being shown. And I think that is some pretty amazing filmmaking.
It's
I also
one of the
think
most
that-
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful looking movies ever, and I'm actually really upset that Hugo won the Oscar for best cinematography and Tree of Life didn't.
Oh yeah, I don't.
That seemed like it was
Tree of Life at least got nominated, right? Because I remember there was one cinematography
Yeah.
thing that I got pissed at. But okay, yeah, because it totally deserved. Hugo is right up there too. I'll admit that. But Tree of Life, I thought was really amazing, cinematography wise. I do have a problem with it though, in that I think that the director kind of just forgets what movie he's making and then decides to make a different film at one point.
Well, even if you're like a Terrence Malick fan, I think this is such a weird departure from all of his other previous films that it's sometimes hard to get into.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go too much into my problems with it, because I just had to like separate my brain into two parts: the film critic side of me and the film fan side of me. The film fan had to go and sit in the corner, and the film critic of me was really loving it up until that very end where they showed the shot of the mask floating in the water, and had to go, that is cheap. But aside from that, aside from that and the fact that I think he wanted to tell one movie and then he goes, oh wait, instead I'm going to tell this different movie. Visually it's an amazing film. I'll say.
It's one of those movies that you really owe to yourself to buy it on Blu-ray. So, that's what I'm going to say.
I just got a Blu-ray player as well. That happened.
So you can watch Shark Girl and Lava Boy on that.
No, it was because they selfishly made the Avengers deleted scenes only available on Blu-ray.
Oh god,
so
what
I'm
is
like,
that? That is... And
Yeah,
the director commentary is not on the DVD.
No, the commentary is, but that's basically
Oh,
the
it
only
is? Oh,
feature. But yeah, and they got me as well. We don't get the 6-movie briefcase box set. We get another box set, but we don't get the one with the Phase 1 extra DVD, and that's really annoyed me because...
I thought, didn't the UK get like a really cool collector's edition of Inception where it was packed into that metal briefcase?
Probably.
Because I don't think
buy
that
it.
was in North America at all.
Yeah, I would believe you. I don't know.
All I know is you guys got The Simpsons on DVD before we did. So that was...
We
I remember
did.
when I was like... I wouldn't say it was like 13 or something, or maybe like 14, around that age. No, I was just old enough to start driving, so 15. I went over to the UK, and The Simpsons, for years, people had been demanding that they start putting those out on DVD, and they refused to put them out for some reason. And then I went over to the UK, and there they all were, like every season of it already out in DVD. But let's go on to our next one, Brokeback Mountain, which that's the one that really made me realize once again how great of a director Ang Lee is. I have a little bit of a problem with the ending of it, but aside from that, I really enjoy that film. And
Did they change the ending from the book? Because I haven't seen the film, but I have read the book.
what's the ending in the book? I don't know that one.
Oh, I can't barely remember now, can I? I think so. One of them dies, right?
Let's go. By the way, anybody who hasn't seen it, spoiler alerts now. Skip ahead by 30 seconds.
Yeah, he does get killed.
Yeah, one of them is killed. Yeah, which
Jake
Oh, yeah, 'cause he
Gyllenhaal's
gets
character
beaten
gets
up.
killed because beaten
Yeah.
up.
because he's
Yeah,
gay
yeah.
and it's the South and in the 70s. So yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the people he met at like a town hall meeting. He got invited up to the cabin, and then he tried like making a move on him, and then he gets beaten up and killed.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. None of that kind of stuff happened in the book, because the book's like 20 pages long, and a lot of it is extrapolated in the film. I should probably watch the film. I don't know.
Film's very impressive and moving. But yeah, my problem with it is that, after, Jake Gyllenhaal's character is killed, is that, there's this incredibly touching scene in which Heath Ledger goes to try and get, like, some of his belongings from his parents, and his parents are just the most horrible people around. And he makes a promise that he's going to one day go back to Brokeback Mountain and scatter his ashes, but he can't get the ashes from his parent. So the end of the film, it then, cuts to the daughter saying that she's, his daughter saying that she's going to get married, and he goes, well, I give you my blessing. And then it ends with him kind of looking at a photo of Brokeback Mountain and crying and saying that one day he'll go back there and scatter the ashes. And I was like, this is a film. You've jumped 20 years already within the span of this one movie. Just jump a little bit further and have that be the end of the film. Actually show us him doing that. But yeah, I'm shocked that this film did not get higher score on screen. It only has a score of 3.7, and I think that's simply because a lot of people went, "Oh, this is the gay cowboy movie. I don't want to watch that." just because South Park made that joke, that fantastic, very accurate joke that all independent films are gay cowboys eating pudding. And then this film ended up coming out a few years later, which is actually about gay cowboys. And I think a lot of people just went, well, fuck that. I don't want to watch that. That sounds stupid. And so I think a lot of people, because there is someone on screen, I am convinced, there is someone on screen who just goes around and gives every movie a 1 star just without even seeing it. Because as soon as a movie comes out, I always see at least one person give it 1 star. Give it like a low
So
rating.
it's like a low rating spam bot of some sort?
Almost like that, yeah.
It's probably Juliet. It's like getting spams about that.
I
Oh
feel
god,
so
thank you!
alone.
I just got that today! What the fuck is that?
I still haven't got it. I might
Neither
cry.
here.
I feel so
haven't
rejected.
gotten it too. I feel rejected, man.
It's
God.
some shitty, like, I don't know if it's a dating site or something, like, just sending me private messages. Did this shit happen before the Berman Braun takeover?
No.
Did we have all these people going on the message board saying, hey, watch this free movie?
No.
Oh, god
No.
damn.
Final Dasta can't do it all by himself.
I know, that guy is working his ass off. And I give a lot of credit to Stacey Wee, too. I've actually spoken with her, and I can tell she passionately wants this to be better, but I've worked for internet companies before, and if you're an internet company and you have someone above you telling you, no, you can't do that, well, we're going to have to put this into consideration, the internet company isn't going to work. Internet is more about freedom and, you know, people actually putting out their ideas, so when you have, like, a middleman there who doesn't need to be there, telling you what you cannot do and saying you're going to have to put through the procedures and the proper networks, it's just going to slow down a medium that is meant to go fast and meant to not have a middleman. And, yeah, it's going to hurt it. And
it's not just one middleman, it's 1,000 middlemen who are all doing other things, and it's like, oh, come on, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
We're still here.
Like, Berman Braun could save so much cash if they fired the people telling Stacey Wee no. Like, that's it. We would get so much more content, and it would be cheaper for them. Like, they could spend the same amount of money that they spend on the middleman telling her no, on allowing her to get some good video and recording equipment, because she wants to make videos. I know she does. But I also know there's someone telling her, well, we're going to have to see about that. And yeah, I've been in these situations before with internet companies. It doesn't work if you have someone there saying no. That's what's great about the internet. It's the thing in which, yeah, if you have talent, it's discovered. There's no person there telling you, well, we'll find the proper way to find out who to tell you about this. No, you don't know about this.
Why is Bane in charge of her?
Berman Braun just wants to see the world burn. Gee, I wonder why this podcast hasn't become the official podcast of Screen yet.
Well, I don't think we hate Berman.
No, we don't. That's the thing. We don't. We just, they're a corporation that doesn't really understand what makes things like Screen and other sites on the internet great.
Exactly.
Right.
They're good people. They want to make money and they want everything to succeed, and so do we. But just
exactly.
their immediacy and how busy they are.
Yeah, exactly. And if they honestly believe, and if they understood, hey, you'll make more money doing this, and it'll be more popular if you just do this, they would gladly do it. They just don't know that. Yeah, because the internet is not one of those things that some people still understand.
Right.
And they haven't done anything to really make us feel any better about nothing happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, whenever I contact Stacey Wee, she is very reassuring. Like, she will lay out plans and stuff for me. I can tell Stacey Wee is one of us. She is a movie geek. But, yeah, I can also tell that she's got someone right there above her telling her no. Yeah, let's go on to the next one, The Graduate, which I absolutely love. Graduate was one of my nominations. That film messed me up, man, because that film was about a guy turning 20, and I saw it the day before I turned 19, and it just wrecked me as a human being. Like, I was just a blank slate for a week, just like, oh god, I don't feel like doing anything. It's got an amazing soundtrack, great acting, and it is incredibly dramatic. It is very, like, your stomach just gets twisted in knots seeing these romances play out, and seeing what happens to this guy's life. Next up is Easy Rider. Anybody seen Easy Rider?
Nope.
No.
Crap, because I have, and I had something to tell about, but it involved spoiling the ending. Let me just say this about Easy Rider. It's one of the most important films in the history of film, because this came out in 1969, and this movie, it starts off having a story, but the story is abandoned real early on because they realize that they don't want to make a movie about what the story is. They want to make just more of like a, they want to make a movie that is about just the philosophy of the counterculture movement of the 1960s. And it's very important because it was putting this out there in a time when no one else had really seen this. I mean, it's about two bikers going across the country and just, showing drugs and sex and all this crazy hippie stuff that no one ever saw. And, it was showing how these people are treated. It was showing, there's a scene where they go into a diner and just everyone there is just talking shit about them. It's like a 5-minute long scene of just listening to other people in the diner talk about, how they'd like to send them to jail or how they're, basically animals. And I mean, it's really incredible to think about how that came out. In fact, my dad was 19 when this movie came out, and he saw it in theaters. And my dad grew up in the South, where it was nothing but, and I'm talking deep South, like super racist South, like 1920s Disney cartoons racist kind of South.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and he looks like Dennis Hopper in this movie. He had the big walrus mustache, the long, flowing, groovy hair back then, wearing the moccasin t-shirts and the shell necklace. He was a total hippie back then, and he went and saw this in theaters. And I won't spoil the movie, but it's not much of a spoiler, simply because, like I said, this isn't really there is no story to this film. It's just a bunch of philosophy and basically just showing off this culture. But let's just say it doesn't end well for the two main characters. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and as if at this point in time there was any other way that would have happened. But it doesn't end well, and in the final scene, when the thing happens that I can't say, everyone in the audience in that theater stood up and applauded. And my dad just looked to his friends and went, "We gotta get the fuck out of here." And they just snuck out the emergency exit while everyone was applauding because he realized they will murder us if they see us right now. So,
would it be a bit like if everyone applauded that scene in Brokeback Mountain?
Oh yeah, exactly. If like a gay guy had been singing in Brokeback Mountain and suddenly everyone applauded when Jake Gyllenhaal's character, during that scene, because I realize I don't have the spoiler alert up for it right now. You know what? Tell you what, folks. Mass spoiler thing. If you are listening to this,
assume spoilers in this section. I think people do.
Because we are talking about movies right now. We're talking about our favorite movies that have been out for decades. Some of these. If you hear us mention a movie, we're gonna try and not spoil it. But if we have to, we will. So if you hear us mention a movie,
trying to talk about why The Sixth Sense is great without mentioning anything about Bruce Willis being a ghost. Spoilers.
Yeah. That's the weird thing. That's the weird thing about spoilers is because there are some films that came out like 3 decades ago and you can't spoil them. Sixth Sense came out just like 1 decade ago, and still, if you spoil that, it's like, who cares? We all know that.
Yeah, I was a bit annoyed about something like because I just watched Fight Club recently and I kind of knew the twist going in. I was like, damn, Fight Club is so good.
Fight Club is good. In fact, it's coming up in a little bit. Not just.
Oh, okay. I'll talk about it then.
Yeah, exactly. Easy Rider. It's very impressive film. I really dug it. Like I said, it's not really. There is really no story to it. It's just about these guys traveling across the country and with an amazing soundtrack and basically just romanticizes that life of being on the road, on your bike, driving around. And it makes me miss old films. Like, I love films of the 70s and 60s and 80s so much because when you see these guys driving around on their bikes, it feels like guys driving around on their bikes. It feels real. It feels like you are there on the road. It doesn't feel like there's anything CGI to it at all. But let's see. Going to the next one. Nosferatu. The original vampire film. Still uber creepy to this day. Especially that scene of him rising up out of the coffin. Okay, I know I'm probably the only one who saw Easy Rider. I can't be the only one who's seen Nosferatu. You guys have seen this, right?
I've seen the
Philistine in the house
mockumentary movie.
The Shower of the Vampire?
Yeah, I've seen
That's
that.
actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. Next up, Lolita. GoldenEye.
I have seen GoldenEye, but I have no idea what it's doing on this list.
Yeah.
It's a fine James Bond film, but come on.
Screen pups love James Bond. There are so many, even James Bond films that got crappy ratings still got really high up here.
That opening of the dam is a pretty good opening. where he just
the opening to
dives off.
GoldenEye?
In GoldenEye, when
It's a good film.
when he jumps off the dam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying GoldenEye's bad. GoldenEye is a fine film, but Easy Rider compared to GoldenEye, I think Aaron will say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people have more nostalgia for GoldenEye because
The-
GoldenEye game.
I was about to say,
Right.
I do not want to judge why other people put this movie so high on the list, but some of the votes had to be influenced by the video game. But, yeah, let's go into the next one. Wreck.
Oh my god. Great
Yeah.
zombie movie. Oh. God.
Or is it a zombie movie?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I talked on like the first installment about this, about how I'm the asshole out there who actually likes Wreck 2 more than Wreck. I still love Wreck, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I still really dig Wreck, because Wreck, and by the way, for anybody out there who has seen Quarantine and thinks, oh, well, that's good enough, I'm not one of those guys who always says, well, the original was better, or, well, if this was based on a foreign film, then obviously the foreign film was better. I'm not one of those guys who says that. Quarantine is still a pretty decent film, but once you see Wreck, you'll see some of the stuff that they left out that really takes away from it. I mean, the entire last part of Wreck is different from Quarantine, and it's so much better what they do in Wreck.
Yep.
And also that monster, the final boss of the film. Holy crap, is that thing
Yeah.
creepy?
Yeah.
Damn, that's still, like, I could not sleep after seeing Wreck. That's one of the few films that kept me up. And it's all because of that very final bit in there. Let's see. Scarface.
Is that the Al Pacino one?
Oh yeah, I need to actually clarify. Yeah, it's the Al Pacino one.
All right. Yeah, that's a decent movie. I mean, it's pretty violent though. God damn, is it violent? I like violence.
Yeah, I mean,
but that
the-
shit's just ridiculous.
Yeah, the movie ends with the biggest gun shootout that I've seen in a long time. And him.
I don't consider that to be violent. I mean, because
Well, I'm
obviously
talking
feel
more
like-
about the chainsaw scene.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That is, yeah. What do you
I
guys?
love the TV edit version of that movie.
You could fit the TV edit version of that movie inside one commercial break. God. That reminds me of that joke from Community about I saw Pulp Fiction on a plane. It's a half-hour-long movie about two friends who love cheeseburgers and Jesus. But yeah, what do you guys think about the massive like fan following that Scarface has? Like, because you see it all over the place. Do you guys think that it deserves the amount of reception that it's gotten?
I think it kind of does, because it's a really good film, but I think it's been outspun. It's misrepresented. What people think Scarface is not. If you haven't seen Scarface, you're going to have a different idea of what it's going to be than once you actually see it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it makes it sound like it's about this hero, and it's about a massive villain.
I think it got really brought up and popular with like the rap scene or whatever, because all like if you watched back in the day the Crib show, they always had to have a big ass poster of Scarface.
Scarface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think even just like gang culture and just in general nowadays, everyone wants to be Scarface. No one wants to be Al Capone because Al Capone went to jail for taxes. Scarface dies because he goes out and plays glory.
Yeah, exactly. He goes out in the blaze of glory, and also it was the guy who came from nothing and worked his way up to it. So it's got many elements working towards it. Let's see. Next up, The Road Warrior.
Hell yeah, that's
Yeah, it's great.
I have to
great car scenes, great chase scenes in that, man.
I have to admit I have only seen Mad Max. I have not seen Road Warrior. But I've heard that there's a reason why Road Warrior is on this list and Mad Max is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That opening chase scene is great. When they just keep cutting back to Max in his car and he's just waiting for him to pass by. It's just a great tension moment.
Let's see. Here's something of a contrast to go from Wreck, Scarface, Road Warrior, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Like,
This got more votes than Spinal Tap. I want to kill a man.
Well, Spinal Tap at least has a higher rating on screen. Like, this only has a rating of 4. It just got 2 nominations, so it goes up. Which, by the way, I don't have a problem with Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
There's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a fun little romp of a movie. But, let's see. Barry Lyndon. Here's one I definitely want to talk about. Cabin in the Woods.
I'm going to go unplug my headphones now.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Oh, shit. Okay, alright, you know what, tell you what, I will just give my little spoiler-free 30-second long review of this. I'm not going to spoil anything. This film basically takes this is a geeks film, and this is the film that really, it's what got Lit Rock the job as the new critic on screen, because as soon as they put up that Cabin in the Woods review, that is a movie that is made for geeks. It is made for people like us. So the moment that they put up that review and just said 3 stars, like, it's okay, I guess, that kind of showed that this new review guy that they got is not one of us, because that is a screened movie right there. That is a movie that it rewards people who know about film, who love film, and who in their mind actually think beyond what you have been shown on a film. Because it takes the most basic concept you've ever seen in a horror film. A couple of college kids go up to the woods for a fun summer retreat. That's the entire concept. And it goes to such levels with it that, I mean, you cannot be a geek and not enjoy this movie. I mean, there are so many... I can't wait to get this on DVD because there are so many moments where you're going to have to just hit pause just to see everything that is going on in the scene. Like, every little detail that they put up there. And, I mean, there's so many classic horror films that are referenced, but referenced in wonderful ways. And anything else? Oh, yeah, and the other thing I gotta say is that it has what I am now referring to as the Joss Whedon effect, because this happened in Cabin in the Woods, and it happened in The Avengers as well, in which I was watching it going, man, I'm really enjoying this, I'm having so much fun, but I can't give it an A+, because I can't go to my full highest rating, because it hasn't given me that jaw-dropping scene yet. And then it gives me that jaw-dropping scene, and I go, alright, that's it, A+, and then the movie just stops and turns to you and goes, oh, I'm sorry, you thought that was the jaw-dropping scene? No. We've got like 5 minutes of jaw-dropping scenes coming up right after this. So it is, I highly recommend that. It's coming out on DVD soon. It is my absolute, it is my seal of approval. It's we need some kind of a Screen Pup specific rating system, because just saying 5 stars is not enough to express how much I really dug this film. Alright, so that was Cabin in the Woods. You can put your headphones back on.
I'm glad Lionsgate did not market that movie, to that effect. Because they didn't promote it at all, basically. They just treat it like a standard horror movie.
They did, which I can understand their thinking behind that, because, they did not want to, spoil anything, definitely. But also, horror fans will go out and see whatever shit you give them, so I can understand them just putting it out there as a standard horror film and go, don't worry, we'll still make money off this. Let's see. Coming up next, Spartacus. Alright. The Day the Earth Stood Still.
The original, right?
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong, there were some curveballs on this list, but there's not one that big. The original, The Day the Earth Stood Still.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good early science fiction film. It's really impressive.
Yeah, and I saw it because I watched the Blu-ray version of the remake. Mm-hmm. And it also came packaged in with the original version, so that's how I saw it.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's really cool to see that they did that. Let's see. Next up, Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't like Battle Royale?
No, I love Battle Royale. That movie's just
it's
terrifying.
Oh, yeah, it is. That, I had never seen it until recently. I just watched it this week for the first time. And, yeah, we all know what Battle Royale is about. It's, basically in the future where delinquency has gotten out of control, and each year they pick one class full of students and they send them to an island where they have to kill each other. And if they don't, they all die until there's just
It's
one
the Hunger Games, but way more disturbing.
Yes, exactly.
And before the Hunger Games.
It was before the Hunger Games. Battle Royale, goddamn. I remember watching that and I was like, okay, I know what this movie's about. I know what's going to happen. But I mean, the moment that the main character, he's grabbed his bag and he runs out, and then the first girl comes walking up to him with the arrow in his neck, and she falls down, and then an arrow goes right past his face. My jaw just dropped because it was like, holy cow. Like, that's, like, I knew these kids are going to have to fight to the death, but that's when it, like, brought it home. Like, that's when, like, the moment just punched me in the gut, and I realized, oh, yeah, they're hitting the ground running, and this is actually going to have to happen.
And they do it instantly. They instantly turn. There isn't like a, oh, we were friends. Some of them have that, but just bam, straight away, 5 minutes in, they're murdering each other. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is that, like, if all of them had come together and said, no, we're not going to do this, we're going to stand strong, they would have lasted a while, but the second that one of them says, you know, nope, I don't want to die, that's when it's all off. Like, the moment that any trust is broken in a situation like that, it would all just go downhill.
Well, even with, like, the whole thing of them standing together, they had an element with the caller that every single caller would, well, basically everybody would die at the end of 3 days, so it was an element to keep people kind of against each other, not stand together.
Yeah, and I really like how with the them like putting off the each zone of the island kept getting like that little turn into a danger zone basically. That it forced them to keep coming closer together. They could not keep hiding from each other. And also the guy with the bandana around his head, I can't remember his name. That dude is so badass.
Oh, he's so good.
I love that character.
Wait, which was that the guy with the hair or the good one?
The good one, not the guy with the hair. Not the Japanese Rob Patterson. But the you're not.
Spoilers here again, but like the bit at the end where the Rob Patterson kills all the guys that were working on the tech thing is just one of the most heartbreaking scenes. You're like, oh, they got so close, and there was it's so good. I love that film. You don't come out of it happy though.
Right.
And I love the teacher who they got to talk about, to basically put them into this. I mean, he's a guy who, once again, spoilers, but yeah, after they shoot him, his phone goes off, and he just gets up like nothing happened. He sits down and goes, yeah, well, forget it.
And it's not like he has a touching reunion with his daughter. He's like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, it's basically, his final words are basically, yeah, well, go fuck yourself, kid.
I love the opening bit where they have the VHS tape of the girl explaining everything. It's so very Japanese in its way of explaining how the rules are and everything.
I know that really just kind of shows like the level of because when it comes to their entertainment over in Japan, there is they do kind of like play with the morbidity as cutesiness in some ways.
Yeah.
Like it's not a taboo in America, morbidity, but over there, it's more of like they like to throw in that mindfuck element. Yeah. And so to have the cutesy Japanese, kawaii girl in there, yeah, that was so disturbing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I was expecting to like this film, but wow, I really dug the film after I saw it this week. I didn't dig it quite enough to put it on my list, but it was right up there. It was real close. Let's see. Next up, Ip Man.
Oh.
Ip Man. Oh.
Such a good kung fu movie. Just pure kung fu movie. It's great.
The guy who directed this knows how to film kung fu. Like, each hit, like, you felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and throughout the whole film, Ip Man is basically, he's, every time he gets into a sparring match, he never actually hits someone because he's trying to teach them at the same time. So he always will, like, even when he does, like, a rapid punch thing, he only makes, like, the fist get, like, real close to him. He never actually hits somebody. So when it gets to that moment where he actually starts fighting for real, it is brutal. Like, you are just blown away watching him fight.
Yeah.
Now that's a sports movie.
Yeah, I was about to say. The only reason why I couldn't really put this one on my list is because I've always heard about how much the Chinese hate the Japanese, but it wasn't until watching this movie that I went, God damn, Americans don't even film Nazis the way that they film the Japanese in this film. Like, it is brutally, it is brutal how they film the Japanese in this. Just, like, there's no color in any scene with the Japanese. There's always, like, got massive shadows on them, and they're the most evil, sick, twisted fucks you've ever seen. It's like, and I realized that this was during the Japanese invasion of China, so they were supposed to be the bad guys, but damn, man. But,
I thought you said Hitman, and I thought there was a whole bunch of crazy people.
No. Ip Man, IP space MAN. The biopic of the guy who ended up training Bruce Lee, yes.
Eat your sandwich.
Yes.
Look at me. Eat your sandwich.
Oh, yes, I love it. Let's see. Next up, Big Trouble in Little Chinatown.
Oh, that's...
I love the fact that they took the cheesy 80s action hero character and threw him into the cheesy 80s Asian action film setting. Like, someone actually had that idea and they pulled it off so well. I would love to see... I don't want to see a remake of it, but I would love to see someone try that concept again, because it's just so rich for comedy.
Yeah. And
it's another film that's got so many great lines to it.
Yeah.
Like, to this day, Kurt Russell mentions that whenever he's in an elevator, someone always says to him, I kind of feel invincible.
Yeah, as they should.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great movie. Another great movie. This was actually one of my nominations. Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
The original?
The original, yes.
Okay.
Holy crap, I love this movie.
Yeah.
This, it's about a gang of criminals who they actually, they hijack a New York City subway, and they hold everyone on board hostage. And basically, it's like you see an entire city come and react to this. Like, you see it from the street level, you see the higher-ups, you see the mayor, you see a cop interacting with you, you see the station coordinator. It's like, it makes you feel like this entire city is working around this one event. And it's another reason why I love 70s and 80s and 60s movies so much is because there's a moment where they are racing to get the money to these guys at the very end and racing through New York City traffic. You don't feel like it was set up at all. You feel like they just decided to start having this guy drive and go, just try not to hit anybody. And like it was actually happening in like an actual like jam-packed traffic environment. And also, I'll say this, the villains in this, they are smart. Like, they plan out everything in this. Like that's one of my biggest complaints whenever I watch like a heist film. Like, you know, whenever you watch a poorly done heist film and you can go, well, why wouldn't they just do that? The villains in this movie, they think 9 steps ahead of everyone. It's done so well.
And I like the fact that they're like when he's on the comm link with the train station guy, he's polite, and like they like have like the proper code of like talking to each other through the links. Like in the remake, he's saying, you know, he's just cuss up a storm and everything, and it's like I couldn't get into it because he's being a dick.
Yes. Yeah. Well. Oh God, I'm blanking on his name. Oh God, who was he? Felix Unger.
In the remake?
No, not in the remake, but in the original. Yeah, oh God. Pell. I'm gonna feel like such a dumbass after I look up and see his actual name. Walter Matthau. Yes, Walter Matthau is so good in this movie. He as the head cop. But yeah, it's another one of those movies that's on Instant Queue right now. I highly recommend it to everyone. Let's see. Next up, Midnight Cowboy. Another incredible movie that's all about drugs and sex and the dirty underbelly of New York City back before it was cleaned up.
I love all of those things.
Yes. Next up, Ben-Hur. Dog Day Afternoon. Young Frankenstein.
Great movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah, we can't skip past Dog Day Afternoon. That's so good. It's one of those films that makes me sad looking at Al Pacino's current career.
Yeah.
Also makes me wonder what the hell happened to Al Pacino, because he acts like such a different guy back then. Like, he had to have just been smoking cigarettes for like a decade straight to get his voice to change from that into what it is now. But yeah, Dog Day Afternoon, it's another great crime film in which you see like all aspects kind of come together. Let's see, Young Frankenstein.
I still need to see it. I hear such great things about it.
It's worthy of being on this list. There's always the great debate of which is better, Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles. I'll admit I come down on the Blazing Saddles side, but Young Frankenstein.
Considering I have only seen Blazing Saddles, I can agree with you.
Yes.
Blazing Saddles is pretty funny.
You'll wear all the white women at.
Yeah, but Young Frankenstein, a super close second. Young Frankenstein, very high up there as well. Let's see, Goldfinger, Dark City.
Oh yeah, Dark City's amazing.
Oh yeah, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have not
City's
seen it.
pretty
You have to
awesome.
talk about it.
Yeah, Dark City, well, it's The Matrix, basically, before The Matrix came out. Like, some of the coolest set design and costumes, just like the general mood and atmosphere is just completely foreboding, and all of the strangers they're called, really creepy. And, of course, the big reveal is that, of course, the reason why it's dark all the time is because this whole entire city is kind of like a space station right out in the middle of space. And there's like a scene where they break down a wall, and then they just see endless space. And then the character that broke down the wall, he gets tossed out, and he kind of meets his doom that way. But really good movie.
Cool. Let's see, next up, the original Halloween. I admit I'm not the biggest, oh god, what was it, John Carpenter? He made the original Halloween? Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he does do creepy really well in that film. Just the opening with seeing through the mask in the first-person perspective. That's pretty creepy. Let's see. And Rob Zombie, please stop making those movies.
Just stop that. Rob Zombie, please stop.
Yes. Let's see, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Oh, that's a good, just British gangster movie. I think.
I think it's overrated.
I think it's overrated.
I haven't seen it, so I can't back up either side. I kept waiting to watch it on Netflix like right before this segment, and then they took it off a week ago. So, unfortunately, I could not get around to it. But let's see. I know that what was it last week? Jack Anderson was on. He was saying how much he absolutely loved this. So, you got him in your corner, Nick.
All right, woo, yay!
Yay! Okay, here's one that I think is overrated: Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
I'll admit I'm not a fan of it because Ferris Bueller is such an asshole in this movie. And I get that that's the point, but still, he's such an asshole.
Like, I know that's the point, but like, he is such. Like, let us not understate the amount of arsehole-tude that he presents in this film.
He is ruining the life of his best friend and doesn't give a shit that that's what he's doing.
There is funny arsehole, which is Bill Murray, and then there is that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if the cops showed up and decided to arrest his best friend for something Ferris Bueller did, you know Ferris Bueller would let that happen. And then when his friend eventually got out of prison 8 years later, he'd go, yeah, but didn't you learn a lesson? That's the kind of asshole Ferris Bueller is.
Yep.
I still love that movie. It's just on TV way too much.
That's also true, yeah. Let's see, Clerks.
Dude, Clerks is so good. I think that was mine, or one of mine. I love Clerks. Yeah, Clerks is great.
Yeah, it is. It's, it's real, it basically kind of tells me that Kevin Smith needs to just have... I know Kevin Smith makes small budget films. He needs to make no budget films once again.
No, because Kevin Smith needs to get fired and start living like a normal human being and then make no-budget films. Because that's really been his trajectory, is the fact that he doesn't... His sense of connection with real people... He still thinks it's the 90s in his head, because that is the last time he was a real person. And he's become a celebrity now. And it's, yeah. But Clerks is so amazing. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love Clerks.
That was one of those films which is... It captures a voice, which, I even give Mallrats a little bit of credit because I still say that at least that was capturing some kind of a perspective or voice of the
Mallrats
generation.
Mallrats is a good film.
Yeah.
I like Mallrats.
Yeah, but Clerks was definitely it was a total fresh breath of fresh air kind of film.
Did we already go past Chasing Amy?
I believe we did.
I like Chasing Amy more than Clerks.
Yeah, that's
I agree
totally
with that.
valid.
I agree with that.
I still think that's his best movie.
I like Clerks more, but Chasing Amy is a great film. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that, yeah. Let's see, next up, The Hurt Locker. I already started talking about this a little bit, but wow, this is one of those movies in which to this day, I hear people say, oh, how could they have given the best picture to Hurt Locker instead of Avatar? I mean, that must have been just that must have been some political decision. They just didn't want to, offend anybody or make it seem like they were just giving it to they just hate big special effects films. And I'm like, have you fucking seen The Hurt Locker? The Hurt Locker, goddamn, this is the story of a bomb diffuser in was it Iraq or Afghanistan? It was Afghanistan, and it's basically just showing the insane amounts of stress that he has to go through and the horrific situations he's in, and each situation is more tense than the last one. Like it's not really a consecutive storyline. It's not like a storyline that flows from one scene to the next. It's a series of different scenes, and each scene is just showing a different situation that he has to be in, and they're each more tense and more unsettling and disturbing than the last one, until eventually you go, okay, that had to be the last scene because there's no way you can go more than that, and then they do it again. That's the kind of movie that this is.
Like that.
And then
that car scene was so intense.
Oh god, yeah. But then the big twist, and once again, little spoiler alert, the big twist, the most disturbing scene in this whole thing is the scene of him in the fucking grocery store looking at that long aisle of breakfast cereals. And that's when it really hits you. This man is no longer meant for the outside world. He can't fit in here anymore. He is now a wild animal that you're now just putting in a cage by putting him in this grocery store. And I mean, he's talking to his son, his little baby son, and he's basically saying, yeah, sorry, but I can't be here with you because I have to be back where there's violence and death and explosion. And it is, in my mind, it's right up there with, what was the Stanley Kubrick film? Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
As far as films that just show the effects of war on soldiers. It so blew me away.
I just want to say about that, Taken should take a note from that.
From Full Metal Jacket or from Hurt Locker?
From someone who's seen that much violence.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Understood. Let's see.
And I love the cast in The Hurt Locker.
Oh!
Jeremy Renner's amazing, Anthony Mackie, and also has like a whole bunch of amazing cameos.
Yeah.
Like David Morse is in that movie, Guy Pearce is in that movie.
Yeah. Ray Fiennes is in that movie. I had to stop the film and look up and make sure that was him. Movie. Yes. But yeah,
he just shows up right in the desert as like some British SAS officer.
Yeah, and between that and The Town, Jeremy Renner just became like my go-to guy. Like if he's in a movie, I can't talk too much shit about. Like he's my current favorite guy working in Hollywood at the moment. Let's see. Yeah. Next up, A Hard Day's Night, the Beatles film. That's
a great film. Great, incredibly like charming.
It's very charming, yeah. Let's see. I was about to say, speaking of charming, and then go into one, but I realized that's not the next one. That's the next one. The next movie is not charming in any way. It's disturbing. It's I Saw the Devil.
Oh, God.
Speaking of charming.
Yes.
Such a brutal movie. Oh, my God.
I keep wanting to watch it, but I'm afraid to watch it because people talk about how intense and brutal it is, and I just talked about watching The Hurt Locker, and yet people say this is like even more than that.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, it's on another level of a different type of level of brutality and like just stuff that I've seen before. It's just crazy what they do in that movie. It's pretty much he goes around and tortures this one dude, but the one dude is a murderer. South Korean.
That sounds great.
It's South Korean's version of the Punisher, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Dude, I thought it was like some kind of horror movie from the title. Like, seriously?
Yeah, it's a South Korean like revenge movie.
I need to check that out. I need to check that out.
Nice. Let's see. This is the movie that I was about to say, speaking of charming. Midnight in Paris.
Yep.
Midnight in Paris is a great film for, it's a great film for geeks. Because it's about a guy living out the ultimate geek fantasy. He meets his heroes, he shows them his work, and they like it. And they want to talk with him and hang out with him. Anybody who is...
He gets his book edited by Gertrude Stein.
That's so great.
Come on.
And the dude who plays Hemingway in that film...
It is amazing.
Holy... That scene where he gives the speech about what it means to be a writer, I started welling up at that. I started tearing up when I saw that. Because, I mean, it just speaks right into your soul.
Yeah. And, Adrian Brody as Salvador Dali.
It's like only in there for like 2 minutes, and it's amazing.
And
Ryan
Marion
Gosling.
Cotillard is, she's gorgeous and terrific in this movie.
Oh, you can understand why this guy would go back to the 20s before internet and give all that up for her. Yeah, that is...
Yeah.
And it's got a great message
It's
at
a-
the end, in which he basically says, listen, you just gotta be happy with where you are, man.
Yeah, it's, one of Woody Allen's best films in a very long
In a very long time. And yeah, and I think the reason why is... I noticed that his films really started to drop off as soon as he and, oh god, who's the actress that he used to be married to?
Scarlett Johansson.
No, not Scarlett Johansson. The actress he used to be married to.
Hold on,
Mia
hold
Fowler.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Mia Farrow.
Did someone just say Scarlett Johansson and Woody Allen? Because I haven't been keeping up with pop culture. Seriously?
No.
She was in like 3 of his movies.
They were, and she was playing him in one of them, and it was horrible. But yeah, when back when he and Mia Farrow were still together, that was like when he made his last good movie. Because after after they got divorced, so he could then get married to their stepdaughter, which is,
Oh my god.
we'll ignore how disturbing that is. But after that, all of his movies, in his movies before then, Woody Allen's character himself used to be like the one non-flawed. Well, he was still flawed. He was still greatly flawed, but he was like the one guy who could kind of see how stupid everything else was. And then after that, and that would include like the female characters in the movie, not because Woody Allen was anti-woman, but because they were part of the world outside of this character, and everything outside of this character would always be kind of stupid. But then after he and Mia Farrow broke up, it seemed like each of his films was kind of an apology, because each of his films after that, the main character would either be a woman who kind of saw how stupid the rest of the world was, or it would be a male character who was deeply flawed, and the rest of the world was flawed except for this one woman. And he was trying to, make it up to this one woman. And this was kind of the film where he goes back to it, and I kind of got the sense watching this that this was Woody Allen basically going, you know what? Fuck you guys. I've apologized enough. She was an asshole too, okay? That's how the story was.
I don't think that ends entirely true with Woody Allen's characters being the only one that could see the craziness in the rest of the world. Because in Annie Hall, Alvy Singer is a horrible, horrible person. He is a terrible person.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I'm not saying, that's the thing. I'm not saying that the main character in his movies aren't flawed. I'm just saying that they're flawed, but he sees how ridiculous other things are that are naturally accepted in the world. Is kind of what Yeah, because, I mean, even in Annie Hall, there's that fantastic scene where there's the pompous asshole in front of him in line, and he just...
But the great thing about that scene is that in other scenes in that movie, he is the pompous asshole in the line. Oh, God, Annie Hall was so good. Is Annie Hall on this list?
Oh, yeah, it's way up here. Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yes. Let's see. Where did I leave off? I left off on Midnight in Paris, which means that the next one, with a score of 4.3 and 64 votes, Attack the Block.
That's
I love you.
Yes.
such a good alien movie. Oh my god.
I'm one of the ones who nominated that one. I love the hell out of Attack the Block. And Attack the Block, I was like, you know what? I'm having fun with this. I'm liking it. But it just has not, I don't know, it just hasn't really hit me. And then it gets to that final scene where she, once again, spoilers, in which she goes, how old are you, Moses? And I just, my stomach is churning thinking about that right now, that moment. And you just realize how brutal Moses' life has been for him to be that way. And
yeah, boy.
Aside from the fact that I had to put subtitles on when watching this because I couldn't make out a single word.
Oh my god, you didn't? Did you? Really? Really?
I'll admit, I had to.
So did I.
I hate you all.
Sorry, man.
I did not put the subtitles on.
Question.
Yes.
For the subtitles, did how did they spell it out? So like when it got to like there's more what dem tings. Did it? How did it spell?
Oh, it
dem
was
tings?
Dem Tings. They spelled it DEM apostrophe. Yeah, they spelled it how.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Okay, yeah, don't worry. Yes. But no, yeah, this is a fantastic film, and once again, practical effects, people. Practical effects.
I was so shocked that the visual effects in Attack of the Block didn't get some kind of awards nod, because they might not have been the most expensive, but they were ingenious. That was a guy in a suit with a glowy mouth, and it was terrifying.
Oh god, it looks so good. But yeah,
Like, that is smart people.
yeah, and Moses. Once again, I have to keep going back to it. Moses is such a great character. That final scene where he is being taken away and he just gives out that little smile, like, that just gets me. But let's see. Next up.
So,
Next up, The Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
It's a classic. What do we need to say about this? This is an amazing film. I get it.
you click your heels 3 times.
Yes. Yeah. We don't. This is one that we don't really need to talk about because everybody knows how great The Wizard of Oz is. Let's see. Another one that everybody knows how great it is, but we're still going to talk about, The Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
That has zombies in it.
That film has so many things going for it, and I mean, it's good even now. Like after so many other zombie films have come out. So just thinking about what that must have been like when it originally came out, that is mind-boggling to me to think. I actually got to see this in theaters. I'm not that old. They just re-showed it at like a little artsy theater near me, and it's good. Just thinking about the fact that it also it did a lot for race relations in this country too, because they actually had this was so ballsy of George Romero. He hired a black guy to be the lead actor just because he was a good actor. He fit the role. He did very well. He had he actually saw beyond race when he cast this movie. And when you think about the stuff that in, the 1960s, when they had this guy do it, he had a black guy telling a white guy, shut up and listen to me because I'm going to make sure I save you guys. You guys are being destructive. He slaps a woman around. These are things that back then would have caused audiences to riot, but he was like, no, this is, I just wrote a character, and I don't care what the actor is like. Right. Of course, it also adds a lot of political commentary to the very final scene of that movie.
Yeah.
But I love zombie films, and this it holds so much. It still holds up so well today. Speaking of another horror film, and this was another one of my nominations, Evil Dead 2.
Yes. That
Evil Dead 2
classic
has the...
Bruce Campbell right there.
Oh, God. This, to me, is the definition of a cult film. Because the people who know about this movie know about it because someone who had a real passion for it came up to them and went, you haven't seen the Evil Dead movies yet? Well, here, I'm going to show you all of them. And that's how the love of Evil Dead spreads around. And I love seeing just the fandom that's come around that. I even went out and saw the Evil Dead musical, which was performed off-Broadway a couple of years ago. Oh. Which is fucking amazing, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
sounds like a dismal failure waiting to happen.
Oh, no, it is so fucking good. It's off-Broadway, so it's a lot like indie films, where it's it's like guerrilla. It was I was watching it this is like guerrilla, theater work here going on, because there are moments where they have to put the makeup on Ash when he turns evil, when he turns into evil Ash, and they had to do it on stage, so they would have the actor turn around against a wall and just start freaking out while other people talk, going, what's going on? Ash, are you okay? And in just this little bit of time, the makeup person behind the stage had to open a little door where Ash's face was and apply the makeup for evil Ash where he was right there, and it's good makeup too.
That's genius.
It's an amazing musical, and it had good music to it, too. It was a good comedy. It was meant to be a comedy. And it was good. I admit, I recommend going on YouTube and looking up the songs for that. It's very good. But the film itself, first off, for everybody who doesn't own it on DVD, it's got one of my favorite audio commentary tracks of any film I've ever seen. Because it's got Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi, all the makeup guys, all the, producers on, and they all know it was a shitty film. It's not a shitty film, but, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew they were kind of making a joke while kind of making it serious. And the audio commentary track is basically like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 track to it, because it's the guys who made the film making fun of the film. Like, they're pointing out all the bad stuff in the movie and laughing with it. And that's kind of the attitude of the Evil Dead 2. It's like, it's cheesy, but it's kind of meant to be, so you're supposed to laugh at it. But, yeah. Next up, Blazing Saddles. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was
How'd that
even
work out?
higher. Yeah, alright. I absolutely
I
love
think
it.
that was on my list, actually.
I know it was on mine, because it's one of the few films I've given 5 stars to. Yeah, I really love it. You want to talk about it a little bit?
I don't know. It's just one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
It really is. Such great dialogue in there and such great scenes.
And then the ending is just goes off on such a wild tangent.
Can you imagine
just incredibly-
pitching? Can you imagine pitching that ending to a movie now these days? Where they just
Impossible.
It'd be impossible. Where they just suddenly just break out of the film and start fighting all across the Hollywood lot.
Yeah, and who was the actor who played Lamar, like the main villain?
The main villain. Slim Pickens.
No, it's the guy who always said it's Hetty Lamar. Not Hedley.
That guy.
Him.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's incredibly funny.
He is so good in there. It was Harvey Korman.
Yes, he's so funny in that movie. Mel Brooks is funny. They have the executioner guy. Like, they open the windows, like, hey, can you do an execution? And he's like executing a guy on his horse, and they have a
The
lynch
noose for
around
the
the
horse
horse as well.
It's so good. And of course, Mongo.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite scenes, where it literally just turns into a Warner Brothers cartoon for like 5 seconds when he comes in and gives Mongo the box of chocolates.
Yeah. And then, like, at the end where everybody's fighting and they break the wall and enter another movie where this giant musical dance number is going on. And Gene Wilder is incredible in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
The part where he does the fastest hand move in the world on the chess piece, laughed so hard I had to rewind it and watch it again.
It's an amazing film. Speaking of films that have endings, or the exact opposite of that, this will be controversial because some of us may like it, some of us may not. No Country for Old Men.
That's a
That
great
movie is near perfect except for the ending.
I was about to say, that movie is an A-plus film, hands down, until that final 10, 15 minutes of it. And then it's just, what the hell happened?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that movie in theaters, and when it just cut to black, there was gasps throughout the entire theater.
Hang on a second, I literally just dropped my headphones. Which film is this still? Are we still Blazing Saddles?
No, this is No Country for Old Men.
Oh god, yeah, that film's terrible. What are you talking about? I hated that film. Oh, it's so bad.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
The Coen
Even
brothers
if
can
it
make-
has a
can
terrible
make-
ending.
It had
like
a
the
terrible
scene-
ending.
No, the scene like when he's in the motel and he has the shotgun and he's sitting on the bed, and then there's this shadow that goes right in front of the door, then it moves away, and then you hear him pulling out the light bulb, and then it goes dark. Chills. And then the whole scene where he chases him out of the hotel, and then through the streets and through like all the parked cars. That's just incredibly tense when I saw that.
It's a brilliantly directed scene, and the Coen brothers can make beautiful movies, and they can make genius, as they have always proved, but I just didn't care about anyone. It was just so boring and so characterless, and just so, here's a metaphor for this, here's a metaphor for that is a gun, that is a briefcase, they want to get each other, I don't know, the ending, whatever.
Really?
Tommy Lee Jones walks around and goes, I'm Tommy Lee Jones, and I did not. I want that time back. I really felt I did. I did. I didn't get it.
Man, because to me,
Obviously,
like,
from
yeah,
the person who likes Starship Troopers.
let's not blame
Yeah.
the obviously from the guy who liked X game, because we all have the launch codes for each other here on this podcast. We could all
I'm just gonna put
dismiss
this out here.
everyone.
I actually like the G.I. Joe movie
Holy
in an
shit.
ironic way. So
Uh,
I like
that's-
the G.I. Joe movie because it's terrible.
That's information you don't want getting out there. Because now, Jesus Christ, man.
Well, back to No Country for Old Men. You know what, Alan? I didn't really feel attached to the characters, but I think that's because I felt so tense with each of them, and because to me that final, what was supposed to be the final showdown, that to me was basically two unstoppable forces coming at each other and finally colliding. But that's not but we just didn't see it, and because Josh Brolin in this film, man, that is the film that really, re-energized him, because he is playing just the epitome of a grizzled badass is what he's playing. And then, oh god, what's the villain's name in there?
Sugar?
Javier Bardem
Anton
played him.
Sugar.
It's Sugar.
Anton Sugar.
Yeah.
But yeah, that character, that scene where he's in the convenience store and he's just doing the coin flip.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's one of the most tense moments I've ever had in a film.
I think what makes that movie so great is that there's no score whatsoever. It's just outside noises that you hear. You don't hear a bombastic symphony orchestra or whatever.
Yeah, and the directing is so, it gets you so much in there that you don't even really realize that, because you don't need a score. It's telling you everything you need. And in a way, that adds to the tension in it, that there's no score, because it makes it feel more real. That moment where he's just running through the desert and you just see the lightning far off in the background. Oh, God. Their cinematographer, they use the same cinematographer on all their films, and he is probably the best cinematographer in my mind working in film today. Of course, no one knows his name, but...
I do.
Oh, what's his name?
It's Roger Deakins.
Oh, okay. But
yeah, he's never won an Oscar. That's got to change someday.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Never won one.
God, it was great in True Grit too.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get back to the list. Let's see. Next up, Jurassic Park. Oh, from no score to one of my favorite movie scores.
Yeah, Jurassic Park's amazing, and I had a chance to see it on the big screen where they had old movie kind of festival going on, and man, that movie is incredible on a big screen.
That is one of those films that to me is the film that showed us what CGI can do.
Yeah.
I know I spend all my time on this podcast talking about how you should go with practical effects 9 times out of 10. This is the movie that that just proves what CGI can do.
And that was in the heyday when they weren't even really doing very much CGI in live action movies. And that was the
yeah. This is when CGI this is when CGI was basically what those little flying toasters were on your screensaver back then. That's the best that CGI could do back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen that movie a dozen times, and when I was in the theater with the T-Rex chasing the Jeep, edge of my seat.
Oh, it is, yeah. It's amazing how tense that movie can get.
Oh, must go faster, must go faster.
Nature finds a way. Let's see. Next up, Inglourious Bastards.
That's half of a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yes, you're correct. It is good when it is not Quentin Tarantino going, I know loads about old movies.
Actually, I come from this perspective that movie is great when it's Christoph Waltz. And I think that movie is okay when it's everyone else.
That movie is great when it's Christoph Waltz. It's good when it's the Bastards, and it's awful with everything to do with the cinema.
Yeah, I was going to say, this movie's called Inglourious Bastards. How come the Inglourious Bastards are a supporting character in this film?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care about the cinema. I came here to see the Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, I want to see...
The scene where they're in the bar in the basement, that is probably the most self-indulgent Quentin Tarantino scene I have ever seen.
It's up there.
That's saying something. That is saying something.
I was about to say, I can't say it's the most, because I can't go through my Rolodex at the moment, but it's up there.
That's a scene in which Quentin Tarantino is in love with his own writing, and that's a 10-minute sequence in which...
yeah.
I would say a bit earlier, where it's the German soldier and the French person in the cinema. He's have you seen this film? Well, have you seen this film?
Yeah. I guess we won't see much of that, I guess, in Django Unchained, because movies didn't exist back then, really, so...
Oh, thank God for that.
Have you seen that horse that when you turn the crank, it looks like it's moving through the little slots? Yes, I saw that. Let's see. Next up, The Great Dictator. Which can we just talk about how great Charlie Chaplin is? Cinema treasure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hard Boiled. Brazil. Hard Boiled?
I still need to see Hardboiled. I've only ever seen The Killer.
I played Stranglehold.
I did too. Wasn't that
I never
good? But
s- I quite like Stranglehold. It was dumb. Anyway, that's got
see.
nothing to do with anything.
Brazil. Which I have not seen, but my co-host, Michelle, she seen it, she saw it and absolutely loved it. So I give it a thumbs up. I just have a problem watching any Terry Gilliam movie after I personally insulted him. So I just always feel bad when I watch a Terry Gilliam movie now. So I've yet to see it. Let's see, Akira.
Yes, classic anime.
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
You said that with such disdain.
What, wrong Akira movie?
No, it's the right Akira
Oh.
movie.
It's a
It was
classic.
the way you said.
It's a classic,
anime.
yes.
It
But
is.
there are better animes out there that have a better storyline than that one.
Some of them are on this
like
list,
this.
even higher.
like the second Digimon movie.
Was that the one
I
that
don't-
Summer Wars ended up ripping off?
Yes,
I just
it
remember
is.
the one where they fight in the internet.
that's the one.
That
That is the one. That is the
Oh,
one.
is
It's
it?
fantastic. It's
What? I thought that was
unironically,
the
that was
first
a
one.
fantastic movie.
What?
Well, okay, it's the second Digimon movie in the Japan, but they edited the first three into one movie in
Oh.
America, and it was terrible, and it had that rap in it. Remember the Digi rap? No,
Yeah, I remember
good.
the Digirap.
I'm so sorry.
I really like that first season of Digimon.
I like season
that
3.
first season when they go back to Earth. That's great.
The bit on Earth is good. I think season 3 and season 5 are my favourites. Yeah, I watched season 5. It came out in 2007. I'm an almost grown man.
Wait, was season 5 the one where they don't have the pets anymore? They like actually turn into the things?
No, that was season 4. Season 5 was the one where in Japan it kind of got all gritty and hard for all the people that grew up with it, and one of the dude's powers is that he can only digivolve. His Digimon can only digivolve when he punches them in the face.
I think I only saw the first 2 seasons. Like they had the original people, and then they became teenagers, and then there was all the other kids, the younger kids. That was the second season, right?
Yeah,
and they
and
had
season
the first season they had necklaces, right?
yes.
And then they became like MP3 players or something like that. And the second one,
Yeah, they kind of had an MP3 player and like a laptop thing, and they're all connected in the eggs. And then the third one was trading cards.
Yeah, I don't think I saw past season 2.
I like me some Digimon. That's my guilty pleasure right there. Digimon's great. It's better than Pokemon.
I love there's
Metabots is pretty cool.
somebody out there who absolutely loves Akira and they are just screaming their head off right now. It's just, God damn it! Stop talking about Digimon! Alright, let's get on to the next movie. Leon the Professional.
Akira's pretty good.
What?
Akira's pretty good.
Akira is pretty good. I like Akira.
Yeah.
I talked about it back on the animation episode, so yeah, people can go
You did.
listen to that one. Leon the Professional.
It was not the movie I was expecting when I saw it.
Yeah.
Like it's still cool, and that whole end sequence is amazing. I just found the stuff between Leon and young Natalie Portman kind of creepy.
I didn't see enough of it to really be able to weigh in on that. I didn't really get that it was creepy, but yeah, I didn't see it all.
I loved Gary Oldman in it as always. He's great.
Everyone?
Gary Oldman
Is that the Everyone film?
in every movie that he's ever done. I can enjoy his acting at least.
Did you see Twinkle Toes?
Nope. The ones. Okay, let me reiterate. Every movie
Okay.
I've seen of him in.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
What about Lost in Space?
I loved him in Lost.
He's
in
actually
Space.
pretty good in Lost in
Yeah.
Space. I gotta admit, he's like the one good thing about that movie.
Yep.
What is Twinkle Toes?
Twinkle Toes is a movie where Matthew McConaughey comes from
You mean Tiptoes?
Tiptoes. Is that what I... Is that what it's
Yes,
called? Oh, okay.
The midget.
You're right,
movie.
Tiptoes. That is what it was called, yes. But yes.
Oh, that's so stupid.
How offended must you be if you are a little person working in Hollywood and they make a movie about little people and they don't cast little people in the role? I would lose my mind if I was a little person working in Hollywood.
They
Oh,
probably
they
all
did
read
that
the
this summer too with Snowy and the Huntsman.
That's true. Let's see. Next up, Rocky, which we already talked about that. That's one of my top 5 favorite films of all time, but I already went on about how much I love it. Let's see. Next up, Iron Giant.
That is a good
Fantastic.
movie.
That's fantastic. That's got one of those. If you don't tear up at Superman,
I
then
know.
yeah.
You have no soul.
Isn't Harry Connick Jr. in that movie?
Yeah, doesn't he play the hipster looking guy with the goatee and
Yeah.
the beatnik looking guy?
He owns the recycling
junk bin,
yard,
yeah.
doesn't he? Yeah. It's a great movie.
Yeah, everybody's very good in that. Let's see. Pan's Labyrinth. Visually, it's an amazing film.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is,
I've only seen it once, and that was in theaters, and I have not seen it since.
yeah.
But
And once
it's an
again,
incredible film.
practical effects at its finest.
It is, yeah, practical effects done incredibly well. I mean, that guy with the eyes on his hands, wow, man, that is a creepy looking creation. And you would not
Yeah.
get that creepy effect coming from CGI.
Yeah.
That is
I still think the scene in the tree is way creepier.
the scene
Yeah.
in the tree.
Where she's just crawling
Yeah, where she-
through it and that big ass toad, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's the great thing about Guillermo del Toro films is that this is a guy who wants to make kind of basically horror films, but horror films for kids, like films that like capture the child's point of view of the world, but creating something kind of terrifying for them. And yeah, I mean, seeing the girl go and get so beat up looking for this giant creepy toad thing. That's something that, yeah, you can imagine how painful that would be for a child.
Yeah. It's kind of he takes the philosophy of old Disney movies where there was always that one scary element that would scare old children, and then he goes to extremes with that, with all his films.
I think that is a great way of summing up Guillermo del Toro. Yeah. Let's see, next up, Jaws.
Classic.
Yeah, I was about to say, we gotta talk about Jaws.
I can't wait till it comes out on Blu-ray. That's like next week, isn't it?
Oh, man, you're right, it's getting soon. Before I even saw Jaws, just seeing just hearing my parents talk about how great Jaws was caused me to have nightmares about sharks. But yeah, and it's another one of those things in which, it's one of those films in which they got lucky on it because everybody has mentioned it before, but one of the reasons why the shark works so well is because you see it so little, and you see it so little
because it didn't
didn't
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those films in which they really looked into that.
Where the practical effects broke and almost ruined the movie, except it didn't.
It actually made it better, yes. But let's see.
Well, that is because it was practical effects. When you're actually shooting them, you know how they look best. Where if CGI, they would have just... God, imagine Jaws with CGI shark. Try to imagine it.
Oh, I can. It's called Deep Blue Sea.
All I see is the Back to the Future 2 scene. That's all I imagine the shark would.
Thank you, that's what I was imagining right there, too, yes. The Back to the Future 2 moment where the Jaws comes out. Yeah. Let's see. Next up, Hot Fuzz.
Yes. Has the single greatest joke in an Edgar Wright film.
Oh, which one?
The bit where he's running through the park and he's like, "You mothers!" and there's a bunch of mothers walking around.
That film, although I will admit, that very ending is very hard for me to watch the way that the bad guy goes out. That is...
Oh, I can't do it. It's too...
I always can't watch that part. But yeah, aside from that, this film is great. It's an amazing parody.
Fascist. It is. It's so good. Oh, it's not as good a film as Shaun of the Dead, but it's a better parody.
Yeah. Also,
Defenses.
just like when...
Just a great...
Yeah. Just like when I talked about Rec 2, there are films out there that prove that it is possible to do a video game movie. Hot Fuzz, the entire last act is nothing but... That's all it is, but yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can see how that got into Scott Pilgrim, which is a video game in a movie film.
Exactly. Let's see, next up, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I have to admit, I think this is my personal favorite of the Indiana Jones films.
Yep.
This is the part I admit that I've never seen an Indiana Jones film.
You know what, there was a time...
You don't want that information known.
There was a time in which that would be a sad thing to say, but Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is so bad that it's like, it's hard for me to recommend the other ones, because it's like, eventually you would get curious enough to watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
No, I have seen, I think I saw most, second half of Temple of Doom and the first bit of Last Crusade. That's what I've...
Yeah. But yeah, keep,
That's probably
Crusade's
why I
pretty
haven't seen
good.
the rest.
I'd say it's my second favorite. Raiders is just leaps and bounds better than that. Raiders is one of the greatest movies of all time.
it's one of
And
the
I bet
highest
we'll
movies.
be talking about it
It's
later.
one of the highest movies on this list. Let's see, North by Northwest. This to me is my personal favorite Hitchcock film, North by Northwest. I'm not saying it's his best one. It's just the one that really hit me the hardest. I absolutely really dig this film. It's
Most people think now it's a Vertigo. Now that movie poll thing came out.
yeah, in which Vertigo is now
The Sight and Sound, I think it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had a poll.
but yeah, North by
Yeah.
Northwest still beats it in my opinion. I absolutely love North by.
Our poll is better.
Let's see, The Princess Bride.
Fantastic.
Hold
That's
on.
a movie of my childhood.
Yeah, same here.
And I've read the book too, and the book is literally the movie. And it was one of those experiences where I was reading through the whole book, and I was like, "This is so much fun! I can't put this down." Yeah, I love Princess Bride.
Awesome. It is a good film.
Yeah.
It is great.
Let's see, Schindler's List.
Hold on. There is breaking news.
Oh,
Dean Parasot is directing Bill and Ted 3.
oh yeah, I saw that. He's the guy who did Galaxy Quest, right?
Yeah,
That actually gives me faith in Bill and Ted
Okay.
3.
Why are they making a Bill and Ted 3?
There's no reason for it. But if you were going to make a Bill and Ted 3, that is the best director I could imagine.
there's only one word I can think that really describes how I feel about that. Excellent.
Most excellent.
I actually saw Keanu Reeves once, just like on the street. The guy, and like I always try to defend, like whenever people say, "Oh, he acts so stiff," I always used to go, "No, that's just how he talks. He can't help that." I saw him on the street. He doesn't talk like that at all in normal life. He's very eloquent. But yeah, I can't defend his acting anymore after actually find out that's not the truth. But
Whoa.
yeah. Anyway, Schindler's List is next on the list. Then, oh wow, this is a weird coincidence that these two go back to back. Schindler's List and then Saving Private Ryan.
It's two of best war movies ever made.
Yeah.
And one doesn't really
Incredibly
involve.
hard movies to watch.
Yeah, one doesn't actually involve battles, while the other one does. Kinda.
They're two good companion pieces of what the Second World War was.
Yeah, it's two different looks at what war does. Yeah.
One's like the actual fighting, and then everything else is the cause and effect of what that caused.
Yeah. Let's see. Social Network.
It's a great movie.
I like it, but I just I gave it like an A-, and everybody else just thought it was through the roof. So it's one of those ones in which I like it. I wasn't totally in love with it. But yeah, it is a good movie.
I love it because they made a fantastic movie about a website.
Yeah, it's a movie about a guy who got drunk one night and made something mean about his girlfriend online.
Yeah, I still think that that should have won over the King's Speech.
Oh, I think most of the things should have won over King's Speech. Nothing against King's Speech. I like King's Speech, but
Yeah, but it's not up there.
But yeah, 10 movies got
It is,
nominated that year, and I think to me King's Speech was like number 9 on my list of my favorites of them, 9 or 8.
Was this 2010 or
Up is a better movie than
2009?
King's Speech.
Is it 2009? Wait, was this-
2011,
was
I
Up-
want to say. No, wait.
No, it was
2010.
2 years
2010,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
that
was
would've
year
been-
10. Last
That
year
would have been
was
Toy
7.
Story 3. Because I don't
Was
think
it?
Up was the same year as Avatar, and Jesus, I think Up is the best movie ever made, bar none. And yeah, Jesus Christ. People saying that Avatar should have won Best Picture, I just tell them to go watch Up because that is anyway.
Avatar should have won Best Visual Effects, which I'm pretty sure it did. End of story.
Yeah.
Avatar,
I got
Avatar
it.
should
Should've
no. Avatar should have won Most Expensive Visual Effects. In terms of actual creativity, they just made blue cats. That's not even that inventive. What
I
else
think
came
if-
out in 2009?
If Avatar had not come out that year, I think District 9 would have won Best Visual Effects.
Yeah, because District
Yeah.
9 was made on a cheap budget, and those still look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Toy Story.
Yep, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Another one there's not much to say about. You all
Yeah,
seen
exactly.
Toy
We've all
Story,
seen it. We all know it's
you
good. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
pretty good.
It is. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, I don't really have a lot to say about it because I really dug this movie. I just wasn't as passionate about it as everybody else was. So,
I think it may be my favorite Kate Winslet performance.
I
that movie.
probably have to agree with you on that. Yeah. I can't. None of the other ones are jumping to the top of my list right now. Let's see. Next up. Oh, Duck Soup. This one was super close to being on my favorite list.
Yes, man.
I love Duck Soup. This to me might as well be like the representation of all the Marx Brothers films. Like here, this is the most Marx Brothers of the Marx Brothers films.
Get me a 4-year-old.
This has the entire opening of this movie is nothing but like 15 minutes of Groucho's greatest lines. Like every line Groucho says in this movie is like one of his best lines. I can see you bending over a hot stove, but I can't see the stove. It's got the most it's got the best fat jokes I've ever heard in a movie. By the way, Screen Pups, very pro fatties. I have to point this out because someone on screen recently came forth and said, "Hey, how come nobody in the screen community has thought about doing their own podcast yet? I'd love to listen to a podcast by anyone, no fatties." That was how he signed off on that. Which, first off, I had been doing this for 6 weeks before he put that post up, implying that he clearly had not gone looking for any. He just assumed no one had done it, and then he decided to put a sign off of no fatties. I was like, "I'm pro fatty, go fatties."
Yeah.
We have nothing against
Who the hell-
fatties.
Exactly. They're awesome. They are like people who are able to be happy, who are overweight. I am jealous of those people because I'm not even happy with my middle. And I wish I had that kind of self-confidence and just stop being a cunt.
I used to be 258 pounds, and then I dropped down 100 pounds. Still not happy with my weight. So, yes, anybody who can be happy being fat, you go. Good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Duck Soup, great fat jokes. But it's got the best. If you have to watch one Marx Brothers film, Duck Soup is the movie. I laughed hysterically when I saw this, and then I saw it again recently in preparation for this list. Just remember which one it was. Laughed just as hard all over again.
Is Duck Soup the one with all the jokes with Harpo or whatever in the
Mirror?
motorbike?
Oh, on the motorbike? No, this wasn't it. This was the one where Harpo and Groucho did the mirror routine where he's trying to be him. And it's also the one where Harpo gets laid constantly in this movie. This is I watched this and just thought about when they made this movie, and it was shocking that they did some of the stuff in here that they did, because there's a part where Harpo has to go around telling everybody that this army's invading, and he just stops at the houses of all these hot women and he sleeps with all of them.
Oh, Duck Soup is so genius.
It's brilliant.
Okay, what's the next
Yeah.
film so I can say it's not as good as Duck Soup?
Old Boy.
Okay. God damn it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because that is so apples and bowling balls. That is totally you can't compare those two at all.
Yeah, but if you could mash the two up into one whole, where you had the story of Old Boy and the tone of Duck Soup, you may get the greatest movie ever.
So if Groucho Marx was kept captive in a room for 15 years and then suddenly was released back out into the world,
Yeah.
Old Boy, yeah, goddamn, that is a sucker punch of a movie right there.
Yeah.
One of the movies I still have to see.
Yeah, so I will not spoil the ending for this one, but I will say there was a moment which I was watching when, you know what, I bet it would be interesting if, oh, nope, definitely it's not going to happen. Oh my god, it happened. That is basically my summary of, the massive stomach punch that comes in this movie. It's, goddamn. I can't really talk too much about it because it's just so heavy. But yeah, this is Old Boy. This is a Battle Royale, even more dramatic. This is the level of intensity that this film has.
I've been meaning to see Old Boy for years. It's been on my list. I really mean to get around to it, but just because it sounds so good.
I couldn't find a sub version of this. I had to watch it with the dub, and it's still really freaking good. That's how good this film is.
Christ.
But yeah, so let's see. Next up, Fight Club.
Oh, okay. Fight Club. I literally saw this a week ago, Oh, Fight Club is so fantastic.
Oh, isn't it?
Okay, I had heard about Fight Club. I'd heard everyone say. I'd heard about the twist. I hadn't heard it exactly, but I basically knew what it was. I heard about how violent and like weird the plotting was, but I had no idea how hilarious it was. No one told me that. No one told me it was a comedy. No one told me I would see Meatloaf walking around with boots. And even though it wasn't there was no dialogue, and it was just like the opening credit sequence with the techno music and through the brain, like the X-Men films. It was the biggest expectation shock I've ever had, because obviously like all classics are normally like standard, either silent or some. It was just really modern and really genius. And fucking Fight Club is so good. It says a lot that after having 10 years or so of everyone talking about it, it can still defy my expectations.
It really can. I remember just constantly being overwhelmed by that film, just constantly being like, I expected something good, and I got something that just blew my mind. And I didn't know the twist, and holy crap, that just dropped the floor out from underneath me.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Next up, Toy Story 3.
God, that ending made me tear up and almost cry, because it was like, you're killing my childhood off.
Yeah, but it was like a respectful send-off, which makes me fear Toy Story 4.
Yeah,
not only
I was listening to the audio commentary for that movie, and they had such a hard time trying to figure out the right way to do that scene, because they didn't want to be cloying or just too sad of an ending. They had like such a hard time just trying to figure out that perfect balance.
Yeah, but
and
like,
obviously they nailed it.
Like
that's the perfect
when they
send-off.
all just were like, they were about to go into the lava pit or whatever, and they just
man.
they just all held hands, and they were just, just like, oh, this is it. This is our final moment together. It's like instant crying up.
I cannot remember the last time I saw a movie in which I actually went, oh my god, the protagonists are going to die.
Yeah.
That, there was not a doubt in my mind that they were going to kill these toys off.
Yeah.
That's how well they set that up.
Yeah, and it was one of those moments where I can usually figure out how every single person, how the hero is going to get out of the jam. I had no idea at all how they could escape with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going to happen? And of course, what happens is perfect.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina, but sometimes there are very few instances where Deus Ex Machina can actually work, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
when
And
it's that
Totoro's in
hilarious.
that movie. There's a stuffed doll of Totoro, and I want that.
That was awesome.
So bad.
I love that. Alright, 2 more to go. 12 Angry Men.
That is a great film.
It is.
It
That is one of those films that makes you have faith in the justice system. That is, I mean, the hero of that film is one of my favorite heroes of any movie, and you don't even know his name. You never get his name.
Yeah, he is one of the only person in that room that cares about truth, and the way he just sways it. Oh, it's so good. It is one of the best arguments for dialogue.
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, and everybody else in there just wants to go home, and they don't realize them just wanting to go home is going to kill someone. This is the one guy who actually just says no and just stands there firm. And mild spoiler alert coming up here, because this is such a great moment. If you haven't seen this, I don't want you to don't want to be ruined, so skip ahead 15 seconds. But the moment where they go, can you imagine anyone else having a knife just like that? And then he just whips out of his pocket the exact same knife and slams it down on the table. That was the scene that just made me fall back in my chair.
Yeah. Who was the main actor? Was Henry Fonda? Was it?
I want to say yes, but...
Yeah. There's I read a book that Sidney Lumet wrote, and he was saying that he was watching a screening, and Henry Fonda was there, and Henry Fonda was notorious for never watching his own movies because he hated watching himself. And within the first 15 minutes of the movie, Henry Fonda walked up the aisle, crouched down next to Sidney Lumet, and he said, "Sidney, it's amazing." And then he left.
Wow. Oh, man. Well, let's see. This is our last movie on the list. We had 69 nominees with 2 nominees, and this is actually number 69 on the countdown list as well. I just realized that. Because 138 minus 69 is 69. So,
Lol.
At number 69, it is with a rating of 4.7 from 128 votes. Doctor Strangelove.
Doctor Strangelove is great.
Yep.
That's why it's on there. It's a brilliant film.
It is.
There's no fighting in the war room.
It is one of the best commentaries on. On war in general and war in politics. And I just absolutely love the scene. Everybody quotes that there's no fighting in the war room. I absolutely love the line which the guy has to break open the Coca-Cola machine.
Yes.
He goes that.
That scene's awesome.
That is such an amazing scene. Did you ever hear that they originally wanted this movie to end with a giant pie fight in the war room?
Yeah.
Yes.
I always wonder how that would have affected the movie. If it still would have been as
It
good.
wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah, it would have been.
It wouldn't have been as good.
I don't know. I think Stanley Kubrick could have pulled it off if he had to.
He could have, and I'm sure it would have been great, but I think that was just the right amount of restraint there. Because he wanted to make a farce, but because of how clever a farce it was, it just retained this element of terrifying believability, even in its warped sensibilities, and it was excellent.
Yeah. And George C. Scott's amazing in
Oh,
that movie,
that
too.
may be my best
Along
performance.
with Peter Sellers.
That may be my favorite George C. Scott performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, alright.
I love the scene where it's Peter Sellers as the president, and he's just on the phone with the Soviet president. Just great scene.
Oh yeah, and like, isn't it, I'm having trouble remembering, but doesn't he like, can't you like tell like the Soviet president is like starting to cry or something? And like,
Yeah.
it's like, well, that was a very silly thing to do. But
Well, I think it's just Peter Sellers just improvising, and he does like the whole. He's about the Soviet president is like talking over him, and then he just stops and is like, yeah, and he does it. Peter Sellers does it perfectly.
oh, and yeah, and he also plays the title character of Doctor Strangelove, and that is such an insane character.
Yeah,
It is. Oh, it's so good.
But yeah, that's it. We made it through all the movies with 2 nominations. That means that next week we're going to be going into the movies that have 3 nominations each.
How many left?
Let's see. So there's 41 that
69.
Yeah, there's 41 that have 3 nominations each, and then from there it all kind of gets a little bit more specific. So
Contentious.
yes, but yes, I want to thank my guests for being on the show today. Any of you guys have anything you want to plug? Any projects you're working on screen, Twitter accounts, anything like that you want to talk about?
I'm doing a new list of all the TV shows I've ever seen.
Wow. That's...
I'm making a film.
Whoa, wait, go back to this.
No, I'm not yet. I've started writing it, but I'm actually filming a film soon with like 1 camera and funding from my council. I got public funding for my film. It's pretty good. It's also about how much the council sucks. So it's gonna go down well.
You are going to have to give us a weekly update on how that's going. That sounds great.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know in September when it starts.
Okay. Well, I look forward to...
and I won the box office winners.
You
League.
won the Box Office Winners League. You cleaned up
Yeah.
in that last week, too.
And I wrote a blog about. I just gave some tips how to play the winter season because I won't be playing the winter season. So
Putting that jersey up on the
Yeah,
Raptor.
yep.
Sports movies, that all comes around.
It does.
Yeah, I'm...
Dodgeball. Space Jam.
You guys
Base-
can, you can follow me on screen, follow me on Twitter. It's The Obscure Fan. I'll be talking about anything I have coming up. Because basically, I don't write that much for screen anymore because I just spend all my time editing these podcasts together. But I'm having so much fun editing these podcasts together. I don't care how much time it takes up. So, yeah, also working on some other stuff, which we'll see how all that goes. Can't talk about anything at the moment. But anyway, want to thank my guests for coming on. Jackson, Kevin, Nick, you guys were great.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, that. Thank you.
You guys dropped off? What happened? All right. But yeah, and thanks to you guys for tuning in. Join us next week, or next week and a half. This is not on a regular basis yet, but yeah, join us next time. You'll know where we are. See ya.
Screened.
I I like it.
That's my. That's the most stupid thing I've ever done.